Take me in the smoke, breathe me in and let me go. Sink to your heart to find you. Open up your eyes till you're blinded by the lies, so you can see what you do. Restless every time we start locking eyes. Lost control. Oh, it's paradise with honesty, but in the dead of the night. Teardrops on the floor. The pain is over. Feel the darkness take control.
Hello everybody, welcome along and back to the Tour Championship. This time around, finally we are going to be down to all of the senior players featuring in those matches as well. And now we're about to witness the repeat of the German Masters final earlier this season. The two players have also met in between each other at the British Open. That time around, it was the only time in the last couple of years where Murphy managed to take his win over Watchalong. They have got a little bit of history in between themselves. They're Shanghai Masters final a couple of years back, where Trump managed to dominate that one and take the title away from Murphy. And then, of course, the previous meeting that they've had at the World Championship in the last 16 stage last season. So they're going to have the first session of their respective match. And alongside ourselves, we are going to have Barry Hawkins against Neil Robertson. So Hawkins that has managed to defeat Chip Chinu in a very interesting battle of 18 frames. He's now going to be up against the man from down under, the Australian of Neil Robertson. Going to be very interesting to see on what the other match will bring as well. But then, of course, we are going to have to inevitably, it was going to happen at some point, we are finally going to be heading back to the table number 1 after seeing a couple of sessions of Barry Hawkins against Chip Chinu, seen one of Weezer against Chris Wakelin, and now we're about to welcome the players onto the table number 2 first. So it's going to have Barry Hawkins featuring once again, and then of course the return of the player that has been a little bit quiet recently. He has managed to win the Crucible Cup, probably the only achievement that he has had since that incredible trophy at the Saudi Masters, and getting himself sorted out for the ranking worth of points until very much at the end of the season there. Neil Robertson is about to make his way, still remains to be the world number 3, and he could be a real threat to try and jump all the way to the world number 2 if he's going to be able to go really far down this tournament. Of course, Karen Wilson is going to have to lose a couple of those ranking points inevitably, and he's not going to be able to gain any either because of him not reaching that sort of cut-off point of the best 12 players of the season, even without having the likes of Ronnie O'Sullivan to feature in the tournament. Now then, Robertson is in the building, so it's going to be down to the table number 1 now. And Shaun Murphy is about to be welcomed onto the arena. Has played really well in the recent couple of matches. Of course, lost out at that World Open campaign to Ronnie O'Sullivan. There was no shame in doing that with Rocky playing so well, but probably gave him one of the toughest games of the season there, you could argue, because even that semi-final against Weezer, which to me still remains to be the match of the season, certainly when you talk about the first of 6 as the ceiling there. So now Shaun Murphy is going to be in the arena, and we're about to rise up and welcome the world number 1, the ace in the pack, the former winner here, of course, that hasn't managed to win a match at the Tour Championship for 6 years. He's managed to break that curse with a really good win over Mark Cullen. A great performance by both of the players ever since an early start, which has seen a couple of shaky performances there from both Alan and Trump. But now it is going to be another attempt for Judd to be reaching the semi-final appearance and make it up against the likes of Neil Robertson or Barry Hawkins. So it could be a repeat of the UK Championship semi-final, where we've seen Trump and Robertson go at it together, and at that point it was a really good win for Judd Trump. Didn't leave a chance for Neil Robertson, that wasn't playing well, and then in the end was defeated by Mark Selby, which could still be the potential story there if Selby's going to be able to overcome John Higgins and defeat the winner of the pair of Chris Wakelin against Zhao Jingtao. By the way, talking about Chris Wakelin, formidable performance yesterday, absolutely incredible how you can be 6-2 down as something that you don't see very often. The table number 2 has already got underway, and now we're about to have the handshake in between the two players. And it's going to be very interesting to be seeing there what is going to happen here. You can see John Higgins is going to be doing the commentary, trying to analyse every single aspect of the game, because he won't be meeting either one of those two players until the final. But it could still be a bit of a learning curve for him to see the way that the snooker has been going for now. It is Judd Trump that gets himself underway, and it's a decent break-off straight away there. You could see that he's managed to cover up the right-hand side of the table pretty well, and now it's going to be all down to Shaun Murphy to try and have a statement saying about it. For now, it does seem like it is going to be a very difficult way for him to bounce that cue ball off the right-hand side of the table. So this is exactly what he's looking at. He has got the potential visibility of one of those reds that he can try and go for on the right-hand side of the table. But you feel like at this stage, it's going to be very difficult for him to make sure that cue ball is not going to be heading anywhere near the right corner of the table, which means he's going to have to try and find his luck elsewhere. One of those options is actually going to be the one that he's trying to play, and it's a decent effort. Trying to get that cue ball to be running off the left side and the black ball cushion to cannon backwards away, and there shouldn't be a free ball of a chance there for Watchalong. So as it is a foul, and 4 points given away to the world number 1. But incredibly, of course, in these tournaments, it is going to be Murphy that is going to be seeing himself as the highest seeded player. Julius, hi, hello. And yeah, Murphy's going to have to go for attempt number 2 because I feel like he's not really going to be under threat of having a 3-miss rule to be applied to this position, but still needs to be a little bit careful that he doesn't give a chance away to Chomp. And a very similar line to the one that he's taken on the first chance. And once again, there's not going to be any chance of a free ball. So the referee of the match is going to be Desislava Bujilova. And it's going to be her task to try and get that cue ball sorted out in exactly the same condition as he was. So just making sure that white is going to be positioned perfectly across the blue and the red. Murphy's going to direct it slightly towards the table there. And the referee's going to agree with this. Just a minor adjustment there that could still be important. Because remember, the way that he's trying to hit that red from 2 side cushions, he needs to be very precise with his thin cut on one of those reds so that he doesn't get too much into the red and therefore puts that one to be in the open play. And it's exactly the way that he would like that shot to be played from the first time. And look at that brilliant attempt and managing to get that cue ball all the way and in behind the yellow with a little bit of distance in between the cue ball and the cheapest of those colours, but still getting himself a comfortable position there. Once again, the safety battle shall resume now. And it's going to be a chance for Judd to try and get those reds to be running across the table. Seems like he's going to have that cue ball to be heading this time around towards the green pocket. Plays that shot pretty well. Could have got a little bit tighter, but even though a couple of those reds could potentially have been taken into the right part of the table, they're not going to be done so from this position because the cue ball would have been heading straight into the no man's land. And it would have been really nice for Murphy to have that opportunity to try and find an open bit of space so that there was an attempt to try and hit that red into the right corner, get himself positioned on black or the blue. And in the end, as that wasn't the option, it is going to be another trade of safety shots, and this time around, Trump is able to respond with another beauty of his. When does Selby play, please? I feel like he's not, well, he may play this evening. No, he won't play this evening because it's going to be Zhao against Chris Wakelin and Trump against Murphy to be finishing. So he'll play in the morning tomorrow. So it'll be Selby against Higgins to try and battle it out for the fourth quarter-final spot, because it's going to be the 4th match to get started, and the previous 3 meetings of Zhao against Chris Wakelin, and of course the 2 ones that we have got running right now. Murray Hawkins against Neil Robertson and Trump against Sean Murphy. That will, by the way, get another 4 points. Even though he's not going to have any of those reds to be potted, already has got a 12 points advantage. Because Murphy trying to get a contact with the lowest one of those reds from the cushion once again. Didn't work out from the first time. So I feel like this is going to be a bit of a different case scenario, because he surely is going to be under threat of having a 3-miss rule to apply to him. But to be fair, this seems to be a really nice line in terms of hitting the reds. I'm not going to say the same about trying to put it safe though. And yeah, the fact that he managed to get that cue ball position perfectly onto the black ball cushion, way lower than the red itself, may probably save him there from being under a little bit of an attack from Trump's point of view. And Judd has got a chance of just carefully nudging those reds into the main bunch of those and just leading that cue ball to be heading past the yellow and brown. And I thought he was going to try and get the cue ball to be in the gap of those two. In the end, just tries to play carefully on the left-hand side of the yellow. And gives the turn back to Sean Murphy once again. So Murphy's going to have an opportunity to try and test the way that the ground is working for him. Because right now, he's still going to be under a little bit of pressure to try and get his game sorted out. So then plays this one with real power. Ooh, that was risky. He was always going to leave one of those reds to be over the corner. And he seems to have done that anyway. So now, the interesting thing is, can Trump actually get through to this red? Or is he going to be forced to be taking another route and play a safety battle of his own? Which, of course, is going to have another variable in it, because of him having the same sort of need there to make sure that he doesn't leave away the red over the right corner, which was left out there by Murphy. But now you can clearly see that Trump can't get through to it. So he's going to have to try and find a safety shot of his own. He pushes that red even further towards the right corner. But now, well, he's left the red over the left corner, to be fair. And he may still be. Does that red below the blue spot? I don't know which one you're talking about, but the one that Murphy will have his eyes on full, and it's going to be the red over the left corner. This should be a really good chance for him to try and get that scoring on the board. But ultimately, it is going to be down to getting that position sorted out on the paint, because there's no way in a million years he's going to be able to do it on the black. And if anything, he may have to take that cue ball all the way to the bold colours. And, well, it's a good pot there that he has got. And the cue ball was a lot closer to the yellow pocket than he was to being lined up on either one of those colours. So it does look like it is going to be a point scored there by Murphy, but probably going to be it there. 65% of you actually go for Trump to be the winner, which is interesting, because I actually share that, and I feel like the head-to-head doesn't look nice for Murphy, and especially when it comes to the matches that do actually mean something, not disrespect to the British Open match that they've had in the last 16 there, which, to be fair, I mean, it was the tournament that Murphy managed to win, so it was a really good win for him at that stage, but probably the only one that he's had in the last couple of years that was actually the meaningful one. Northern Ireland Open, World Championship, Saudi Masters, Shanghai Masters, and then, of course, earlier this season at the German Masters as well. All of these matches have been won by Judd Trump. Different fashion, a decider at the Saudi Masters, then a really dominant win at the Northern Ireland Open 5-1. That didn't really sound nice at all there from Trump. And it looked like it, well, sounded a bit of a miscue there. And still manages to get that cue ball planted onto the bulk line exactly. So now he's going to have a red into the left corner, potentially available here for Murphy. And this time around, he's not going to have the queuing problem, in terms of if he's going to be able to just try and place that cue ball on for the pink, then he should have a really good chance of taking the pink to go all the way. And it's a brilliant shot there, played really nicely once again there by Murphy. And now he's going to have a good opportunity to be taking that pink into the right corner. And after the first red, didn't really mean anything to him. He's now managing to get himself set up with a real good chance and try and take the battle very much to Judd Trump. It's going to be a very interesting quest for him to try and make the most out of this position, though, because he finds himself 4 points behind and now looking to try and exploit those 131 points ahead of him, with so many reds to be at the lower end of the table, all of them, by the way, to be closer to the right-hand side of the table as well. Now about to take that red closest to the right corner. Really nice cut there by Murphy, because he manages to free up the pocket there to an extent, but also about to put the green into the same of the right corner at the same time here. Plays it pretty well at the same time, and now he's about to have a look around. Well, he's played that shot to the good extent of getting that cue ball out of danger, but he sort of actually overplayed that one a little bit, because he would have had those 3 reds to try and take into the left corner. Now, he's probably going to have to take a shot into the right middle, which, to be fair, as much as he doesn't look hard, it will still be very, it will still require a lot of precision for him in terms of the positional play there. And you can see that's exactly what I was talking about. He got that red in, but now he's going to have to take that pink into the left corner, which once again will require good cueing from the white. And this time around, he seems to have steadied the ship pretty well and gets himself in with a good opportunity here to try and extend that gap from 7 points all the way to the top there. So carefully taking the red to go into the left part of the table. Positions the white to be heading for the black one more time. And it's a really good stuff for Murphy, because it looked like the position was going to be the one for him to struggle. And, you know, it'd take a couple of reds away from the right corner. You take the green away from the black cushion at the same time, And then you feel like now he's about to have a real go at those reds to be potted into the left part of the table. But at the same time, he should have a really good run of the ball in terms of he's got the pink to be sorted. He should have the blue as well. The camera hasn't been going on for the blue for a while there. Yeah, so every single one of those colours apart from the yellow are all going to be on their spots, and yellow's still going to be potable if he needs it. But more importantly, he's got 23 points of a gap to Watchalong, and he has got those 3 reds to be available to him here. So let's see the way that this red is about to be taken into the right corner. Now carefully placing that cue ball to be lined up for the black. And yeah, as I say, he's got 3 more easy reds, and then 2 more of those that he can try and get in behind of for the right side of that right cushion. And then he should be able to sort of get himself lined up for the left corner there, or the left middle, depends on which way and which one of those reds he prefers to take out of the game first. For now, pushes another one towards the right middle, so that he's going to have the perfect cue ball placement on the pink for one more time, and about to take it as a first 50 plus break. So of course remember that Trump has scored those 12 points, all of them through the foul shots. So Murphy's the first player to have a point on the board through his play. And now allowing himself to open up the gap there to Trump. About to extend it to 39 points. Making sure that he has got the lineup on the pink. About to take it nicely into the left part of the table. Seems to have got a huge bounce of the cue ball. And look at that for the play. Brilliant. Because he was always going to have a red to be taken into the right corner. But now he has given himself a couple of more of those options to be taking a red into the left part of the table, or taking the black to be heading into the same part of it at the same time as well. Now then, 46 points to separate the players. About to go really deep into the white here, and carefully placing the white next to the right corner one more time. About to take it as 53 points of a gap. So he's now looking at the scoreboard to see how many more of those points will he need to score. And the answer is not many. 54 is the advantage. The black will take him 61 ahead with 59 on the table. So ideally, of course, would like to take another red after the black as well. It seems like he's landed a little bit straight here, which, I mean, he'll compromise him enough there so that, well, I mean, I was thinking about maybe he can take the pink into the left middle, but at the same time, it's going to be pretty straight in that one as well. And he's just making the frame ball to be unnecessarily difficult for him. So yeah, just trying to carefully get that white to be heading towards the right part of the table, getting behind the red. But this time, it's not going to be for the left middle. It's not going to be for the left corner. It's going to be for a shot in the yellow pocket now. So is he going to be able to take it? No, he won't. So I actually fancied Sean to take this frame away now. That won't be the case, but it's still going to be a fantastic break of 73 points, which gets him in a comfortable position and leaves Watchalong to be needing a snooker to try and find himself back with a good response here. So we'll have to wait and see on what's going to happen now with Trump coming back to the table, having a look at that red, and yeah, in the end he can lose a single point there, you would see, because, you know, 12 plus 59 equals 71 there. So yeah, he can lose 1 point and he's going to be able to win it. So he can try and take the pink away into the right part of the table. Seems to have played that shot pretty well. Remember, he wants to take those 3 reds out of the game and then try and get that snooker lined up on the last of those reds, so that he can potentially have a free ball in play, although it won't really mean a lot to him in terms of points. It's once again a brilliant shot there that he's played. But to be fair, he can't take the pink into the right corner, apart from if he wants to settle for a respot. And yeah, taking that cue ball into the red with so much power certainly put the whites out of position to an extent. So that leaves that cue ball probably travelling towards the right-hand side of the table here. And, well, he's gone for the option of taking the pink on, which you can't blame him for. But that will leave him with 47 points behind. So now, after he takes this red with a black, which surely he's going to be taking with a black, he gives himself a chance for a respot here. Apart from, of course, if he's going to have a brilliant chance to be getting those 2 foul points. If he's going to see Murphy to be catching blue pink or black, which will give him a couple more of those points. Then he's going to have a chance to try and fight it out without a respot. For now, his main focus is going to be getting as close to this red as is humanly possible. Now finds himself 39 points clear. Does Sean Murphy, and about to return to the table with 35 still being in play. So what's it going to be there for Judd? Trying to get that red to be perfectly behind the blue. It's a decent attempt there, but it seems like the applause were a little bit premature from the crowd. And Murphy's actually going to have a chance to try and pot the red into the left corner. As far as I can see, you should be able to see that red nicely and get that cue ball in between the blue and the green without needing to swerve or do anything like that. And nearly managed to sneak a jump jump back there straight away and getting that red to be in close proximity to the black, and at the same time getting the white to go all the way next to the green. So now Chomp is about to take this red carefully towards the top end of the table, but that clearly wasn't the plan. Catching the black there with this red and leaving out a chance for Sean Murphy to separate the red away from the cue ball, or as an alternative, you can try and take into the middle. But of course, to be fair, it's going to be a bit of a different story if he is to miss this red, because the black is still in open play. So the total clearance remains to be on there, and Murphy has gone for a shot into the yellow pocket. It's a decent effort, and to be fair, he was always going to see that red cannoning towards the ball cushion, and he seems to have played that one really well in terms of the white positioning perfectly down the spine. So that will force Trump to try and take this shot from the side cushion, which, to be fair, if he gets a good contact, you'll potentially allow him to be putting that red safe. And in the end, yeah, he was not able to do that. So caught a little bit of that red really thin towards the yellow pocket. And now Sean Murphy is about to take this red away, make sure the frame is going to be over, and just get a couple more of those points on the board. Trump had a good run in terms of scoring that break of 22 points. The only points that he's managed to score from the open play there. But Murphy was way too strong with his break of 73 points at the starting point of the frame. And that has allowed him to be the one taking the first frame away from Juk Trump, and now allowing himself to be lined up with a race to 9 there. And ultimately just needs to make sure he's not going to be repeating the history of Mark Williams and Mark Cullen there, because both of them managed to take the opening 2 frames away. But different story, to be fair. Allen was able to extend that lead to 4 frames to 0, whereas Williams has gone on to lose 6 frames on the bounce, 7 frames on the bounce at the end, and find himself losing 7-2 away to John Higgins, before inevitably making a real close match out of it and losing out by 10 frames to 8. And Higgins will once again find himself to progress to the quarterfinal stage, as the cue ball is just about going to slow down after taking a difficult blue there from Murphy. Should be able to cue this one well as well. Look at that, brilliant cueing. Nice control on the white as well, so that he's going to have a chance for a total clearance and a break of 30 points to finish it off there with Murphy. The breaks of 30 and 73 are the ones that allow him to be taking the first frame away from the ace in the pack and get himself in an early lead there by 1 frame to 0. Murphy with a really positive start of his own. Now it's going to be down to Chomp to try and respond to it, because for now, not seeing anything that would make me feel like, well, you know what, he's going to be a real threat later on there, Chomp. He needs to try and get himself up and running. For now, seems like it's Murphy that has got all the run of the ball and ultimately allowing himself to be taking an early lead. For now, still, it's going to be all down to a potential chance for Trump to get that warm-up in. You know, he had the break of 22 points. He needed to have a couple of really good shots in there as well. But in the end, it wasn't enough for him to try and find those 4 foul points of a snooker. And in the meantime, on table 2, we've got Robertson and Hawkins really going at it. And Hawkins right now leads by 12 points, so 23 plays at 12. As Robertson is about to have another chance there of some high scoring on the board. Gets the black off the blue ball spot, and canning the white to go down the lower end of the table. And underplay for that one slightly, with the black returning back to its usual spot. It's going to be very difficult for Neil to try and continue the break, starting from this point onwards, but still seems like he's going to be able to have that one under control in terms of, at least he's got a chance of going for the red into the top end of the table, but he seems to have abandoned that idea and just going to be sending that cue ball to bounce off the right side and all the way to the top end of the table, planting that cue ball nicely onto the ball cushion. So it's going to be over to the safety batter once again there on table number 2, but on table 1, certainly have got Sean Murphy and Watchalong producing quite a battle, and we're about to witness on who's going to be the winner of this potential outcome there, of the battle I should say. Trump, the interesting thing about Trump, I'm not going to say I've analysed every single one of the matches that he's played, but the ones that I can remember watching, he seems to be quite a bad sort of starter there against Murphy, but because of him having that trust in himself, having that ability and the confidence of coming back stronger every single time, it seems like, you know, it's the exact thing that happened to him against Stalin there, because you see that post-match interview that he did on Channel 5, and then he seems like he didn't really care about losing those 4 frames, because that's exactly what he said there. You know, he knew he wasn't playing well, he knew it was a bit of a scrappy game, and at the end point, he was going to always have a chance or two. That's exactly what he managed to take in frames 5 and 8, getting back to 4 frames each, and then from that point onwards, was able to take it down to a comfortable game at the end, to a certain extent. I mean, Alan was in there, or thereabout, even throughout the second session as well, but in the end, he was always going to be his his match to lose there. I'm a bit baffled once again by the break-off technique by Murphy this time. I mean, very rarely you see him taking so much of the triangle, but also the way that he's got those reds cannoned away from each other. It's certainly not one of those traditional break-off shots that you see. And now, it's about to have another chance here for Trump. Oh, that one certainly has gone wrong. And maybe, once again, the same history is about to be repeated there. In the match with Mark Cullen, he was struggling to find that form. And that certainly, he's not going to find any of that here. Really difficult of a shot that he's taken into the right corner. He hasn't worked out at all, to say the least. And that will leave Murphy with a good opportunity to be taking a red into the left corner. At the same time, he's going to have a chance, which Trump would not have had anyway, to try and leave that cue ball to be lined up for the black ball cushion. About to take the black into the left corner. And let's see what he's going to be able to do with this one. Of course, doesn't want to touch any of that black ball cushion on the way of the black towards the left corner. Managed to do that pretty well. So still a little bit of tidying up to do there for Sean before he's going to be able to get himself in with a good run. I feel like the black is probably going to be covered up by the right corner. Good news is he's going to be able to use it into the left part of the table instead for now. The position, though, is going to be very different from the one that he had in the previous frame. Yes, that one wasn't easy either, but you know, at least he had those reds into the open play, and the biggest difficulty was always going to be down to trying to make them work for yourself. Now it's going to be down to 16 points of the advantage, and having 3 more reds certainly available to him. If you count the one next to the right corner, you feel like the one next to the main pack of reds on the left-hand side of it, and underneath them all, should be playable into the left middle as well. But Murphy may have to try and make it a little split to the pack. He's played that shot, and I'll tell you what, I'm not sure he's played that one too well. And it seems like he's going to have to try and find a bit of an alternative there, because he was a really nice split there, but just seems like he didn't get any luck with that one. I mean, to be fair, this red just about goes past the black and the red. So, is he going to be able to find the target there? He is able to do so. And now that leaves him with a really good run. Once again, scoring 25 points and allowing himself to go 32 points clear now, as he gets the black into the left corner once again. So for now, staying on the reds and the blacks, which I'm not saying anything, but just stating the obvious. You should be able to do that for a couple of more shots, taking the pace away from the white. And of course, with the previous split that he's had, as I say, it was a really nice shot that he's played, and could have been a little bit unfortunate had that red not been able to go through the gap in between the black and another red on its way to the left corner. Now plays another shot which has seen the white, to be super close to touching one of those reds, which, to be fair, would have not made a massive difference. But it still would have compromised his safety play, or positional play, I should say. Now Murphy about to abandon the idea of trying to stick to the black all the time and use the blue here to try and take it into the left part of the table. Now just having a very cautious look towards the bunch of those reds on the right hand side of the table, about to take the blue away into the left middle as well, and going to have to make sure he plays this one with great care, because with him being having a minor side of the being on the right side of the blue there, he's got a little bit of distance in between the cue ball and the red about to be taken, so he needs to cue this one well. Didn't take any chances with that one, and just trying to carefully play for the green, or the bold colours at the end. It looks like he will be the green that he chooses. And once again having that huge bounce off the right side cushion, bringing that cue ball to be lined up for the red into the right corner. And 50 points now is the advantage that he has over Watchalong, so making it 2 50 plus breaks and ending up on exactly the value of 50. The previous time he's done that, he's managed to score 73 points, which remains to be the highest break of the match, obviously, with only one frame to be completed. And yeah, he seems like he's not going to be happy with the positional shot that he got on the black here, though. And yeah, probably going to have a bit of a run of the cue ball now, playing this one on the top spin, having to make sure he uses that left corner wisely, so that the black is going to drop in after all that. And just having a little bit of a look towards the red at the right corner, and asking the referee to clean the cue ball now. So now he's going to have a look at the plant, potentially taking it to the right corner. Of course, ideally, he wants to be taking a rest shot now into the left corner, but I mean, I say ideally for him, only because he's going to have so great numbers out of taking those rest shots. Now carefully planting that red to have no power at all, and getting himself lined up for the black once again. So it is going to be 164 points that Murphy has managed to score in 2 of those frames. But, well, that was good timing in terms of calling the score, because it was a really bad miss there from Sean Murphy. And the second break of 50 plus, he's not going to go into the zone of 70 plus there. It's a bit of a bad miss that from Murphy, and the black is going to stay out. So let's see the way that Trump is going to be able to respond. The break of 59 points is not going to do it there for him, especially with the way that he's got a couple of those reds to be lined up. So, yeah, he seems to be pretty disappointed with the way he has played this first shot, because he got the red in, but he seems like he was trying to get those reds to spread out away from each other. And in the end, the only colour that he has got available next to him is probably going to have to be the black. Taken into the right middle. It's going to be far from ideal for Trump, because, I mean, unless he has got that perfect side control of the cue ball, he needs to be taking the white along the right side rail and just try and plant it across the table and get that one sorted for one of those reds to be taken into the left corner. So in the end, catches the pink, and it's not really going to cut it there for him. 8 points there that Trump has scored, and it seems like he's going to have to take it with a safety play there. So still having 67 at the table. So it's a different scenario to the one that he had in the previous frame. As if to say that he has actually got the ability that if the chance presents itself to try and clear up the table without needing to find the great safety and to find a snooker lines up on Sean Murphy. And now he's about to take the safety shot of the cue ball towards the green pocket. Now that cue was about to find himself heading with 100 miles an hour towards the left corner of the table once again, because the previous 2 long shots that we've seen from Murphy have all found the target brilliantly. The only long shot from Trump at the starting point of this frame was very far from making the target. So now, what's it going to be here with this red? They're bound to be taken into the left corner. Missed that one by a bit of a margin. And let's see where he's going to finish. Well, I'll tell you what, he's going to finish in a playable condition there for Trump. As much as it's probably going to have to be a long shot again. This one is certainly going to be slightly easier than the one that he had to play previously. And when I say it's probably going to have to be taken into the yellow pocket, you also have to consider the potential availability for it to be taken into the left middle as well. So try and take that with full-on throttle, and we'll just about wobbled in there in the front jaw. And that is going to be enough for Murphy to be coming back to the table, delighted with another chance. Looked like Chomp was going to have his pursuit very much started in there with 51 points of a difference. Now, Murphy's going to have a bit of a different story of his own, because if he takes this red with the black, he should have a great chance of getting himself lined up with 59 points ahead with 59 at the table. So once again, story will repeat itself. Trump is only going to be able to force a respot. Ooh, he wasn't able to find the target with the black, but he may be able to cannon the reds away from the side cushion, and that will certainly do him nicely. If he just manages to take the blue with that red, it is going to be a 2-0 lead there, very much in the making for Sean Murphy. And that will make sure that Trump is going to have to stay silent until the end point of this frame. And yeah, he's played that one really well on the blue. Needed to make sure that cue ball was running, and he's managed to put up the running in there perfectly well. So then 57 points clear. About to make it 58 with this red, and only 51 at the table there with 3 reds to be forming a bit of a cluster next to each other and close to the pink spot. Sean should be able to just try and send the cue ball into those reds anyway, because it's fair to say that he's managed to win the frame. And it seems like that one has gone wrong, to be fair, for Murphy. So the gap of 63 points may have to stay there, unless, of course, he's able to utilise that red shot superbly well. And the answer is he wasn't able to do so. So Trump should be able to just concede here, 63 points. And, well, he's not going to concede just yet. So taking the blue into the left middle. Murphy, I'm not sure if he's going to be surprised with Chomp carrying on there, or him missing that red, because of it, of course, catching another red on the way. So then let's have a look what we are going to be dealing with. 16 points after the black. That leaves us with 59 points. So 12 points behind exactly. To be fair, I mean, the only problem for Chomp is that he has got the pink to be out of position. With that, he would have potentially had a chance to be taking that red with a guaranteed snooker. And a snooker plus a free ball potentially could be those equaling 12 points there that he's going to be seeking for. So once again, keeps finding himself in those difficult situations there, Trump. And now just having to work out the angle on this red, because yeah, ideally it would have been, he would have liked to be straighter on this one, and he's going to have to try and take that cue ball away from the black slightly, which is not necessarily going to be the thing that he's been dreaming about all day. And, well, I mean, the decision, to be fair, it could be a 200 IQ move there from Chomp, because the decision to take out the pink may seem odd at the start of it, because, and he's about to refuse the pink as well, which is a bit weird, because now he's got a really difficult black to be taken. But, yeah, from the point of the reason why I said it was going to be 200 IQ move, because it really spots the pink to go next to the red, and it basically lands you a guaranteed snooker. Whether it lands you guaranteed 4 points or not remains to be seen. But yeah, he's going to have to try and get that cue ball to be heading in behind the black. And look at that for a shot. Brilliant there from Chomp. And the only slight problem is the red is going to be closer to the right side cushion, which is the one that Murphy has got available to him. But still, it's a brilliant shot there from that position that Chomp is able to find. And of course, should Murphy not be able to hit the red, he's going to have that free ball opportunity very much in the air and available to the world number one. Now just having a line and having a walk around the table to see what he's about to be lined up with. It seems like just taking a red into the left cushion is going to be the one that takes him over the finish line. Well, to be fair, it's a really good shot that for Murphy, because, as I say, that red was closer to the right side cushion, and whatever it was for Sean Murphy, whether he was thinking about a free ball, but still trying to have obviously genuine attempt to hit that red, or felt like there was more of the angle of that red for him to be aiming for. But whatever it was a great execution, and Murphy still finds himself 12 points safe after Trump was, of course, able to take the previous couple of reds with a black, and seems to have underrun the cue ball for this one, though. Sean Murphy should have the line to be taking this red to go all the way, and just carefully nudge it towards the left part of the table, as the turn is going to be presented to him one more time. And yeah, probably just going to have a bit of a thin contact with this red. Make sure that he's going to have a run off the ball. And look at that for a shot. Nearly a beauty in the making there from Murphy. Super close to having that snooker lined up in behind the pink. And in the end, it looks like Trump is just about going to be seeing enough of the red to try and hit that one full in the face. And in the end, just try. Well, he's gone for a different approach, which I have to say is going to be close to fluking that red into the corner. And yeah, a bit of a weird one there from Trump. Trump was 4-0 down. Was up at 1-10-8. Repeat here. Yeah, but I mean, it was Allen that wasn't really playing well. And now you've got Murphy. I was about to say playing really well, and then he misses a red like that. So it's not going to be just about game over, but you know, it was a great step up though for Trump and for Allen, both of them, to provide some great entertainment there for matches. So it's going to be a bit of a different story to try and do that against Sean Murphy. But this is where potential head-to-head comes into place, because you know, with all the great history that Trump has got against Murphy, this could be a great chance for him to try and turn a setback off being 2-0 down. There's a great fire in the fuel, and he should still get that engine running. And, you know, before you know it, he could still find himself being 3-2 up after the intermission. For now, he's about to try and battle it out for the second frame here. Hanging on by the edge of his teeth, but realistically, Murphy just having a little bit of fun of his own, trying to find the snooker in response, being close to it, first on the pink, now on the green. And Trump just trying to get that pink to be working for him here. And he would have had the blue as a potential cover for the red anyway. And very disappointed with wood. It was a bit of a weird one, to be fair, because if you lose 6 frames on the bounce, then you don't really have 8 frames, not 6 frames. 8 frames on the bounce. I mean, it sounds ridiculous, but Chris Franklin is the player that has managed to win 8 frames against Zhang Minyu on the bounce in the final, by the way. And he's managed to do the same thing against Weezer. Maybe the best run that we've seen this season there, because tell me a player that was able to win more than that. I mean, Chipchaya springs to mind with his 6-frame run against Ronnie O'Sullivan, but you're going to have to tell me about someone like that he's been able to do it twice as well. And it wasn't like he's done it in the qualifier. He's done it in the final of an event that he's managed to win very comfortably in the end. And he's also done it in the first round match of the Tour Championship, which is going to have one of the favourites for this crown to be taken here. And yeah, Weezer seems like he's having a bit of a bad spell there, which is weird, but is understandable at the same time, with him being very young and still at the early doors of his career. Murphy now about to resume their cat and mouse game with this red, and once again has got the visibility on it. Just a matter of time until he decides to try and get that one super close to the left corner. That's exactly what he's done, trying to use the black as the cover point as well. And it seems to have worked out there pretty nicely for Judd, because to me, for Murphy I should say, because it seems like to me Chomp can actually get through to the direct contact with the red, which means he needs to be sending that cue ball to go into the black ball cushion first. Still able to put the red into a somewhat safe zone though, so he should be happy with that. As now we reach the 3/4 of an hour, and still having a bit of a battle here for the second frame to end. Of course, it's going to be game over if Trump is going to be forced to be potting the red, which Murphy's desperately trying to do there. Well, is he going to be taking this red away? He surely can't afford to be doing that. So he's just trying to be playing a careful shot, but in the end it looks like he either got a snooker lined up on Sean Murphy here accidentally, clearly, but potential outcome number 2 could still be the factor of Murphy seeing that red, and it is now going to be Sean Murphy to take that frame after John clearly sees that that frame is not going to go anywhere. And it's now going to be down to Sean Murphy to try and use that 2 frame of a gap and try and extend it even further down. You know, he can potentially try and repeat the history of the first round match, and Trump could still find himself being 4-0 down before the intermission. Trump trying to wear Sean Murphy down here in the second frame. I feel like he wasn't trying to do it, but at the end, he clearly realised that he wasn't going to get anywhere with that safety battle, and it was the best thing for him to just concede the frame. Try and move on with frame number 3. Now let's have a look how the match of Barry Hawkins and Neil Robertson is heading. And the way it's heading is that 69 points is the advantage for Hawkins in frame number 2. And for now, is Neil Robertson was able to win the first frame away. And Barry seems to have leveled the score sheet with only 67 points available to be played there. The only break of 50 plus, but it's going to be the end of a break. And it's going to have to be given the turn back to Neil Robertson. So then once again, back to you, Neil, it would be. And yeah, it seems like the exact same story has sort of happened there in the second frame, because apart from that miss on the black, it was a straightforward escape there for Murphy. Another break of 50 plus, 59 points at this stage, and still having a very comfortable line there. You feel the only two times there where Trump could have actually had himself to be edging out in front there in terms of the chances of winning the frame was right at the start of it, when he's gone for that aggressive long shot, didn't make that one work. By the way, Hawkins does take the second frame away from Robertson, so it's now going to be 1 frame each on table 2. But if you go back to Trump against Murphy, that long red was absolutely nowhere near to be made, and in the end, that was the mistake that has allowed Murphy to be having the break of 59 points. At the end of it, he missed the black, he gives the red away to Trump to be taken into the middle, and it looks like potentially Trump could try and do something about it, but straight away, he gets that positional shot wrong in terms of, he gets the line up on the black, but he has no route to be continuing the break from that point onwards, and he just sees himself to be getting a little bit frustrated, but ultimately there was nothing that he could have done, having to play that shot in the defensive fashion, and getting that cue ball to be running across the table with a very lengthy safety battle, which in the end has resulted in the frame-winning opportunity there for Murphy. Left Trump with needing to find a couple of those snookers that Judd wasn't able to execute on that particular attempt. So once again, sending that cue ball to go all the way past the left side of the table, and about to get himself lined up for a red to be taken into the right part of the table here. Having to play this shot pretty carefully, but at the same time, having the bit of flexibility of, if he wants to, he could always try and use the shot from the cushion to full extent. Doing that from the left side cushion, you should still see the cue ball bouncing away nicely onto the main bunch of those reds, and if that's going to be done nicely for him, and done properly I should say, then he shouldn't have any issue in terms of giving any one of those reds away. Of course, he has got another alternative of playing his shot into those reds that he seems to have refused previously, but now, well, has he left out a chance here for Trump? He seems to have done that, but is there going to be a way that Trump can actually try and take this chance into the one that can result with a long pot success? And of course, if that is the case, then let's see what's going to happen after the shot is being played. Yeah, as I say, I feel like too many reds to be available there, and in the end, they all end up to be in the way of each other. So Trump has to play for a safety shot now. Seems like he's managed to calculate the pace of the cue ball really well, and he certainly has done that. Giving the turn back to Sean Murphy here, getting himself lined up for maybe the left-hand side of the table to be working with. Although, Murphy seems like he has found enough of the edge of the reds, right in the middle of the table. And yeah, he was trying to take that one the wrong side. I was looking at that shot, to be fair. And the way that he was taking that red makes a little bit more sense, but a little bit fortunate. There was no hand of apology there, because he clearly was playing that cue ball to be heading into the zone of brown and green. And he gives the turn back away to Trump whilst being snookered in behind the green here. So let's see what Trump is going to be able to produce here. Yeah, it seems like it's going to be down to getting that cue ball to go all the way to the left side cushion, at the same time bouncing close enough from the right part of the table so that he gets himself lined up for a couple of those reds to be available. Well, this is going to be interesting to see there, because Murphy has got a decision to make. it's a foul shot, which means he's going to have a first 4 foul points to be given away to him. Not be the player that gives them all the time. So, yeah, the reason why I said it was going to be an interesting choice there, because Murphy could have potentially gone for the red to be taken into the left part of the table. In the end, decided not to be doing that. And Trump is going to go for attempt number 2. Seems to have a lot more pace in this one. And, well, I'll tell you what. It hasn't really changed there in terms of this time around. He hasn't given 4 points away to Murphy. But now, can Murphy try and go for this red to be taken across the table and along the Blackpool cushion? The fact that he's looking towards the left middle probably suggests that the answer is going to be negative. And, yeah, Murphy's going to have to just try and find a way for him to be planting that cue ball safe, but ultimately making sure that he doesn't give too many of those reds away at the same time. And just having a little bit of a close look towards this red at the closer to the left side cushion, because at this stage you probably have to say that it is going to be purely down to the factor of seeing enough of that red to take it all the way to the left side cushion. And at the same time, he needs to be very careful with planting that cue ball to be heading past the brown and green, unless he wants to try and have the repeat of the previous shot that he's played. Well, I'll tell you what, it's a poor shot to me, because now we're finally going to have a red given away there to Watchalong. And well, if I know him as well as I think I do, he's going to be taking this one away to the right corner. But let's see just how well he's going to be able to play the shot. And the answer is horribly wrong. Well, once again, it's exactly the same story as the one that we've seen in the second frame. And once again, you feel like that shot was taken with way too much speed. And the only question that I will answering now is what does Shaun Murphy have available ahead of him? And the answer is a couple of reds, that's for sure. Nothing into the left part of the table that seems to sort of stand out to me. But it seems like he's got a couple of those reds to be taken into the right middle. So then a little bit of backspin on the cue ball once again. Try and make sure you get this one to be heading into the pocket. And don't overscrew the cue ball there. Well, overscrewed slightly. And he has left himself with very close proximity to the black once again. Not for the first time in the match. So what's he going to be there? Once again, he's got such a great variety of those reds after the calamity of a shot that Trump has played. Just needs to get this black to be heading towards the right corner. He's done that superbly well. And yet again, we are going to be starting out a frame with a chance of Shaun Murphy to close it all out. He's done that before with breaks of 73 and 59. And yeah, total point score there for Trump doesn't seem like a stat that he's going to be proud of. But as I say, it's a different story if you compare the match to Mark Allen, because it was all a little bit scrappy, and Trump had really good chances in at least 2 of those opening frames to be taking each one of them, and it was Allen which was trying to come back every single time. Right now, it is Murphy that is dominating the game, Trump that is trying to come back, but the problem for him is that he seems to find those attempts of a comeback to come every single time when he needs a snooker or 2 to find. So the Murphy having to think an extra couple of seconds to realise the way that he wants that cue ball to be running past the ball colours. Plays this one superbly well. Once again, gets a little bit of a touch off the red, and still gets that perfect position sorted out for the cue ball to be lined up for the yellow. Carefully taking their white to bounce away from the left side cushion, and getting himself to be lined up for the red for one more time. Now then, just careful placement of the white is surely going to be the thing for him to consider. Doesn't want to take too much of that right middle away though, because it's always going to be a chance of repeating the history from Chris Wakelin campaign yesterday, where he's played a similar brown like that, and in the end left out a chance for Weezer to be taking that frame all the way. For now, about to take the yellow for the second time. This time around does catch the minimal part of the front jaw. But in the end, it's not going to be the thing that worries him too much out there. So the red about to be taken into the right-hand side of the table here. And yeah, very careful in terms of, and sorry, very important shot for him in terms of the way that this should be the red that is currently the only one to be in the way of the pink spot, which means as the pink is about to be taken there by Murphy, pink is going to go back into its usual surroundings, but also he's going to have another colour to try and choose from, with already having the likes of the blue and the black very much to be available. Well, black to be available, blue is kind of available at the left corner of the table into the left middle, but at the same time it's probably not going to be the colour that you want to be taking on right now at the right hand side of the table because of having a couple of those reds to be in the way. But Murphy once again just showing that it doesn't seem like he needs the great invitation for the blue, and he seems to be feeling himself pretty nicely trying to play those shots in around the black here and making sure he's going to be able to take all the easy reds away from the table before. Well, I say before we get to the difficult ones. I mean, which of those reds are going to be classified as the difficult ones here? Because, well, that one could have potentially been classified as a difficult red. I'll tell you what, that certainly was a bit of a bad miss from Murphy. And, well, I thought he was going to try and absolutely hammer that red. Exactly what he's done. But he wasn't close enough to get that red to drop in. And certainly seems to have worked out pretty badly there for Sean. Well, I mean, just as I was about to say, the position seems to be perfect for him to be having a first clear-cut chance to be killing this frame to go all the way. Now, it's going to be a very different story because apart from the reds on the left side cushion, which Murphy would have never needed in his life, with all the points advantage that he would have had he not missed that red and been able to continue on the break. Now, maybe a little bit of a, well, I'm not going to say overconfidence. There's not going to be pressure. So I don't know what it was there from Murphy. Maybe just a bit of a bad shot that you can have sometimes. 25 of the difference in terms of the points there. Not in favour of Watchalong, but now he finds himself being 24 points down. Having to try and take the pink away into the left corner. Make sure that the white is going to be positioned for those reds for a couple of more shots there as well. Now 18 points as the difference in between the cue ball, in between Watchalong and the Murphy. But of course the difference between the cue ball and those reds seems to be cut down again. So yeah, the thing that I want to know is, can Trump try and win the frame without needing that last red? And the answer seems like it's going to be very close. So let's have a little bit of calculation there. So he's got 48 more points that he can score. That leaves him with 70 points. So he needs to be taking every single one of those reds with a black. And then he's going to be able to do that. But seems like something that he's not going to be doing here. So he's probably going to leave him with something like 30 or 28 points of the advantage before getting to that red, which at that stage should be a frame ball in the making for Watchalong. For now, try and take the pink carefully into the left corner. Make sure he plays that shot through the cue ball pretty well. And still, he's going to be trying to stay on that pink here, you know, which is a bit of a weird decision to me, because I understand that it's going to be all down to getting that cue ball working out for him. I get that it's the highest break that he's achieved in the match, and he probably wouldn't come across as a great achievement there. But it's better than scoring 22 points. And now he's about to find himself ahead in either one of those frames for the first time. Because remember, it always has been the story of Murphy trying to get those breaks of 59 I should say, 73, and then of course the break of 33 at the starting point of this frame. It seems to have gone downhill there for him ever since the start of this third encounter. Once again, Trump is able to exploit those two reds that have been close to each other, but they were always going to be possible one by one into the left corner, or alternatively into the right middle. Taking the pink into the left corner one more time. Seems like he's sort of settled himself to go for that approach and having to need that red onto the left side cushion, which, as much as, you know, it's not going to be the easiest position for you to try and be in charge of, but still, I would have actually fancied the chances of Trump to try and make sure he's going to be not allowing Murphy to be in the same position that he was at previously. Because now he's about to extend his lead to 18 points. So if he's going to be taking every single one of those remaining two reds with a black, about to take it for the first time, he should still have the chance of, what is it going to be? 18 points plus, so 34 points of a lead, which is not going to be enough there. You need 35 before you get through to the last raid, but it seems like he's not going to have the angle to play for the black anyway. So he's about to lose a couple more points there, you would feel. But also you have to ask the question of why that's going to be the case, because he's going to put himself in a difficult position here unless he's going to be able to find something here. And, well, it's far from being an ideal shot for him to play. Yeah, I do have to ask there, why on earth has he not managed to take care of the factor of him being on the wrong side of the blue at that stage, so close to the ball colours? Now, he's forcing himself to be playing for the backspin shot and having to see this cue ball to be played towards the brown and the green. He can try and go for the pink here as well, but I tell you what, it's not going to be easy to get that position sorted out for the penultimate red. And it's probably the easiest part of his troubles that are going to be starting out with the last red still not being available at the left corner. He's tried to take that one away. Has he worked out? Well, I'll tell you what, it seems like he's trying to be hunting down two rabbits there, and he's missed out on both of them, because the red that he seems like he's going to have the lineup for is not going to be playable into the middle, so he needed to be way lower down the table there with the cue ball. Probably just going to try and put the red safe. Whether he's going to try and put the blue safe or not remains to be seen. But now it's going to be down to Sean Murphy to try and have a clearance of 43 points. By the way, as Trump manages to double his total points exactly with 58 points that he scored in the previous two frames. Exactly the same that he scored in the previous break just now. So Sean, he's about to wander down the table and see on what is he going to be there for him. Having a look towards those reds at the left-hand side of the table, making sure that he is not going to have too many of those too close to each other. But ultimately, that is not going to have those reds to be available to be played further away from the left-hand side of the table. So ideally, you want to be taking a cross double on. But I feel like when I say ideally, it's something that's never going to happen here. Wow, that was a weird shot for me to be seeing. I mean, I'm not sure whether that was a tactical masterclass or it was a tactical disaster class there from Murphy, because he seems to have taken that red all the way along the side cushion with no real chance to be getting himself lined up for the black without a guarantee that he makes that red in. So the red now bounces away. Trump should be able to take this red away, and he hasn't. Wow, I say he should be able to take it away. I said that he would have put my money on that. And you would have still been down to try and get the position on the last of those reds. And now this is going to blow the frame wide open, because Murphy's got the chance to try and get those 25 points to be scored here. And Trump can do anything. You know, he's played this shot. You know, he was always going to be needing both of those reds away. Now, the first one is about to disappear. And Murphy desperately needs a good shot on the positional play. And he seems to have got anything but a good positional shot there. Well, the pink, forget about it. The blue, forget about it. So, it seems like it's going to be black or nothing. He's thinking about going for the pink, but, I mean, he'll need mighty bit of spin. Oh, he's gone for the different approach. He's trying to do it with the right side spin from the right side cushion. Seems to have worked out decently there, in a decent effect there for Murphy. Still, I feel like the rare shot from the black would have potentially got that cue ball closer to being behind the red. Oh, this is going to be nasty. He needs to be taking a rest shot with this red. Well, this is not going to be pretty for him, but of course, if he makes it, it's going to be a straightforward line to the finish line, and it's going to be a 3-0 of a gap very much in the making. I do have a feeling, though, he'll make it, and I had that wrong feeling. He was a really difficult red, and has he left this one away? No, he hasn't. Once again, he is getting the run of the ball there. Whatever you say about Murphy, seems to, every single time he misses a chance away, very rarely he seems to give it away there to Chomp. But to be fair, when those chances get presented to Murphy, he's usually the one to take them. The same can't be said about Chomp for now. And yeah, Jolty's going to have to play a safe shot. As much as he's going to be disappointed, there's nothing you can do about it. You can think about a double, but it's surely not going to be a shot for you to play in the quarterfinal of the Tour Championship when you find yourself 2-0 down against a very aggressive opponent that plays a similar style of play to what you try to offer. Surely he's not going to be able to go. Yeah, he's gone for a double. This can go wrong. This can go very wrong, but it can also go very good. Red was thinking to drop for a while there, but in the end, listen, he had a bit of safety of trying to have that cue ball to be lined up in behind the black, but boy, that was close. And also that red was thinking long there about trying to stay at the table. I got this hard one to call. Hi, Kevin. And yes, certainly, but right now it's going to be a little bit easier for Jump fans to breathe. If he's going to be able to take the frame away. I forgot that he was on 29 points clear. I thought that he was. Of course, he finds himself 19 points clear right now. And yes, Kevin, I'm not sure if you know, but I've got great news for you. The whole thing about the neon green ball was an April Fool, so you got me. I'm not sure if you got anyone else, but it certainly was a brilliant thing there for them to be watching. And yeah, brilliant marketing, by the way. The fact that you got the likes of, WPBSA, Wilson, all the organisers of the Crucible to be saying that as well. As much as from the real point of view, it was never going to happen. It's still had the way that the sport is being run right now, not necessarily snooker, something that you have to give them credit for. It's not really all down for the money. But what you see happening in the other sports there, sometimes it's going to be all down to just whoever pays you more. And happy, yeah, exactly, I bet you are. And I bet I was as well. So, Sean Murphy trying to carefully get himself out of a snooker situation. And carefully won't really work, because he needs to get a touch on the yellow. And he just about got enough of the spin there to be playing this shot well. Of course, the previous shot there managed to sort of kill two birds with one stone there with Chom, because he puts that black to be safe, which he's not going to need, and Sean Murphy will. And it's now going to be a race for the yellow, which Murphy seems to have managed to steady the ship there. Thank you, didn't know. There you go. All down to this, and I wish we didn't know at the start of it, but to be fair, you have to give him credit for that, because when you have me on a prank like that, you know you've done pretty well, because I've seen it all. And especially with the Formula 1 community, sometimes you feel like he's going to be moving to another team, he's retiring from the sport, all that sort of stuff. That was really great marketing for them. So fair play. But now back to the real stuff of the snooker. Sean Murphy has got a potential chance of trying to cut this yellow into the left corner after a bit of a bad shot from Chomp. Well, this is about to go even more interesting than it already has. Although Murphy doesn't want that cue ball to be positioned onto the side cushion. Ooh, that is going to be a bit naughty, that from the white. And yeah, this green is going to be far from easy to be taken into its own pocket. So just trying to carefully get this one in and still get the position on the brown, by the way. He got the green in. Does he have the position on the brown? The answer to me is going to have to be no. Because, well, if he's going to be able to get this brown in, then you have to say this is going to be a brilliant shot for him to be taking. He's got more of a chance of making the pot in towards the yellow pocket. But yeah, I mean, he was never going to be taking that one on. Especially with the factor of, it's not even going to be a run to the finish line for him. Because he still needs that black to be away from the danger zone. But right now, it's going to be turning the tables a little bit. Because we are now going to be down to the higher value of a colour. If Trump is able to pot the green, of course he will move 18 points clear, with 18 at the table. So another chance for a potential respot if Murphy was to clear up. But of course, the reason why I'm saying that is that sometimes you will need those reds to be taken away. And you still need to be taking care of the black as well. Trump is ranked number 1. How come in this tournament he's seeded number 5? Because it is going to be based on the 1-year list. And this is something that I actually couldn't believe myself there. Because even on the 1-year list, he's going to be, having so many finals there. He's got a German Masters trophy. And with all the respect to Murphy, and I've got plenty of that, I mean, it's going to sound really harsh and rude, but what has he managed to achieve this season? British Open win, brilliant. German Masters final, brilliant. What else? In the ranking events, can anyone tell me? I mean, the UK Championship, I'm pretty sure he was in the semis, but that was an opportunistic move, and it seems like he's going to have to pay the price for it. Murphy was taking no time to try and get that brown into the right corner. And yeah, that cue ball is going to have to be heading towards the right middle. So 18 points clear now with Chomp. Murphy got 500 in his tournament win. I mean, once again, I very rarely argue with you on that one, but which tournament win? That's impossible, because the only tournaments that give you 500,000 is Saudi, which is controversial to say the least, and the World Championship. By the way, World Championship is apparently having the conversation of raising that prize money to $1 million, which I tell you what, that's certainly going to keep Ronnie O'Sullivan in the mix for a couple more years, because forget about competing and having that urge to be the best that he is and have that record stripped off Hendry. It's going to be a real nice motivation for him to try and turn up to the Crucible. By the way, 15 points of a break is going to be enough there for Chomp, and he's going to be able to put Murphy out of his misery and get himself a frame on the board there. Now trails by 2 frames to 1. So let's have a look. I mean, as I say, the last 2 times I've argued with Kevin, I seems to have lost out badly. So you're pretty sure British Open pay you 100,000 worth of pounds. So let's have a look how the 1 year list is going to be there. So Murphy, well, it's impossible to be fair, Kevin, because his 1 year list says that he's managed to reach 398,000 in the entire season there. By the way, Chomp is going to be so close to him, 372 this season. But I mean, Chomp, I mean, how on earth is that the case then? Because he's reached the final of the UK, that's 100,000. He's reached the final of the Northern Ireland Open, that's 50,000 or 45 or whatever. Same with Masters, that leaves you with 190. Then he's managed, not the final of the Masters, he managed to win the Masters of the German, so that's 245. Yes, he had a bit bad run in Saudi, didn't score any of those ranking points at all. Then Wuhan Open didn't score either. Then the English Open played badly, lost out in the last 16. Xi'an Grand Prix, I can't even think about him. Scottish, nope. Welsh, nope. Didn't even play. So to be fair, if you take them out one by one, it actually does make sense. And then he has reached the semi-final of the Players' Championship, which gives you another 45. That gives you to 300,000, and the rest of 72 would have been just the couple of first round matches that he's managed to take. So yeah, I'm pretty sure you're confusing that one with Williams or Chomp or Robertson, whichever one you're thinking about, trying to win the Saudi Masters. But this is the only event, as far as I'm aware, and I'm very certain about that one, that pays you 500,000 worth of ranking points and prize money alongside the Crucible. And yeah, still a little bit weird, but fair play to Murphy. He's had a really consistent year. And if you talk about the likes of Selby, I mean, with all the respect to Neil Robertson, I mean, you take that 500,000 away from him, and he's going to be positioned where? He's going to be positioned the world number 21 on the 1 year list. So that's not the reason for me to be saying that he's going to be the most consistent player on the 1 year list. Zington, brilliant. Selby, really good. Murphy, consistent. Chomp, I mean, what's the word for Chomp then? Zhao Zington, brilliant. Once again, the fact the run that he had in the second part of the season was absolutely astonishing there. And it's not like he was, in his sleep at the start of the season as well, because he had the Invitational of the Shanghai Masters where he managed to reach the semi-finals, lost out to Wilson. Then he's had the semi-final loss to Weezer as well. As by the way, that break-off from Murphy, he's not going to cut it. And Chomp is going to have a chance here. This is where he's going to have the chance to try and step his game up there, Chomp. Really looking forward to the way that this is going to unfold now, because Chomp has got the long red in, finally. Not trying to take that with maximum speed. And beat Ronnie 24-25 Riyadh. No, that was the first round. That was the first round. 4-0, you mean? Where Ronnie was playing absolutely horrible. No, that was what was it called? That was the Riyadh Championship. That was not Saudi, and it was a first round match anyway, because was it him that was against the qualifier from Saudi? So that would have been last 16 match. No, you're getting that one completely. No. Look, I get what you're saying about it, but because I was actually doing a stream for that match, no, that was certainly a first round match for Ronnie. That was a second round match for Murphy because he was a lower rated seed, but I'm pretty sure he lost out to someone in the next round, whether it was Ding, whether it was Robertson, but he's had a horrible run in the next round, and it was a match, and it was a tournament where Zhao Xington managed to get himself 250 worth of £1,000, beating Neil Robertson in the final. Unless he's thinking about something else, but I'm pretty sure that's where you get him mixed up. But Murphy still, I mean, he had an incredible run coming up to this point. Because now we're about to focus on the run that Chomp is going to have around the table. Seems to certainly have the run of the ball now. As I say, he's doubled and more than doubled at the end of that frame. His point tally, in comparison to the previous two frames, just needs to be taking this red carefully along the black cushion. Seen those one missed before. This one is going to go perfectly into the pocket. This is more like it from Chomp. Now trying to get himself only 65 points behind there in relation to the total points scored. And of course with how much of a domination we've seen from Murphy in one extra frame there in relation to Chomp, it could still be very much something for him to try and turn it on his head there. 29 points, another a little cannon towards the black. Murphy rank 4 at the moment. Yeah, so he's the world number 4 on the 1 year list. Trump is going to be right after him on number 5. And then Williams is going to be number 6 after his run. So Williams had a really good run at the Xi'an Grand Prix. And I'm pretty sure that pays you a little bit extra because of it being in China. And he also managed to reach the semi-final of the Wuhan Open at the start of the season in China. Apart from that, I wouldn't actually say Williams has managed to do anything, with all the respect. I mean, am I wrong? Did he manage to reach the semi-final? I mean, he would have got himself to the quarter-final appearance, but semi-final, I'm not sure about it. And then he's going to be down to the likes of Higgins, O'Sullivan, and Weezer to be entertaining the public. Oh, this is going to be close. Trump needs to be able to get through to this raid. And body language doesn't quite give it away. He seems like he's unhappy, but he surely would have been throwing his hands in the air if he would have been able to mess up a position like that away. And clearly that's exactly what he was talking about, just having that bit of a miserable positional shot on the black, which he gets the red in, which is a start. But now he desperately needs this black to disappear as well. Seems to be a good line, and seems to be a really good line there. Not even close to the front jaw, straight to the pocket, and now it's going to be the break of 53 points. So yeah, as you can see, he's going to be ranked number 4, so potentially, you know, possibly could not have been winning 500,000 worth of ranking points because he would have had the more than 500,000, and he's now going to be on 398,000 worth of prize money and ranking points. Well, more than prize money because, you know, he's still going to have the invitational to take into account. For now, Trump is about to go beyond the break of 58 points. Williams won Grand Prix. Yeah, this is what I'm saying there. Xi'an Grand Prix is the thing that I'm saying. Xi'an Grand Prix that he's managed to win against Murphy, complete demolition in the final, but also he's managed to reach semi-finals against I can't remember who it was there. Maybe it was Zhang Anda that he's managed to beat in Wuhan Open. I can't remember. May have lost to Wilson though at the Wuhan Open semi-finals. May have been Xiao Guodong there. I can't quite get my head around that one. Because, no, I think Wilson was playing against Allen, so it would have been a match of Williams against Xiao Guodong. So he lost out to the eventual winner, which there's no shame in doing that. Certainly no shame in having a break of 70 points now on the board, as Trump is about to find another raid to find the back of the pocket. And this is more like it there from Trump. Had a break of 58 points in the previous frame to respond to alternative break of 59 made by Murphy in the second frame. And now, is he going to be able to extend the highest break of the match made by Sean as well of 73 points and take it all the way to 76 there that he scores and plays that one superbly well. Once again, no problem at all. And the incredible thing about Trump is that when he gets that run going for him, he seems like he's the unstoppable man. And he's always going to be wondering where he's managed to hide that form for the couple of previous matches. So I was wondering that it is something to do with how many ranking points they have won this season. Yes. So it's going to be all down to purely 1 year list. Same as the Players' Championship, but Players' Championship is going to be played in February. This one is going to be played sort of March, April. Depends on when it starts. Well, basically April there, because it starts 2 days before the start of our month of April there. So carefully taking that blue into the left middle, making sure that cue ball is going to keep on running. And how come only 12 in the tournament? Because it's going to be best in 12. So if you're concerned about the way that it works for the draw, basically you've got the top 4 of the 1 year list to be in the quarterfinals automatically, and then quarterfinals you need 8 players. So then you've got 8 more. So you've got 4 out of those taken out of 12. That leaves you with 8 to compete in the first round, and then 4 winners out of those 8 will complete the quarterfinal setup, and 4 plus 4 equals 8, and 8 equals the perfect setup for the quarterfinal appearance. That's exactly why, incredibly to me, the world number 1 had to play 1 extra match there of Watchalong, and when he's well starting, he should be starting as soon as this tournament finishes in terms of qualifiers, and the actual main part of the draw should be on the 16th of April. Trump 58 centuries have hit this one easily. Yeah, I mean, he's well out of shape there, and well out of shape in terms of scoring 100 centuries previous season. He's about to make it 59 though, and a break of 105 points. Certainly a lot more like it there from Watchalong. Only taking 1 brown, 1 blue, and 2 pinks there, so we could still be heading for a 140, something like that. I mean, what's it going to be then? Yes, he's going exactly for a 140 there. So I'm not sure about the highest break of the tournament, because there's not going to be any qualifiers matches. It could still be, the highest break that I've certainly seen made in the tournament so far. Seed number 2 in the chat. You certainly are, Joe. Good one. And, if you keep on trying to work hard there, just like Karen Wilson has, well, at least you're not eliminated there as Karen, because he still finds himself with a really difficult position there, Karen, because, he can have all the jokes cracking in with Midnight, but talk about serious stuff. He needs to have a good run at the Crucible. Otherwise, he could be under threat of losing something like 400, maybe even 500,000 worth of ranking points, and that will drop him down from the world number 2 to go all the way down to probably the middle of the top 10, something like that. Does it cost to subscribe? No, it doesn't. And hit like button, folks, and subscribe there. Thank you very much for Kevin. I appreciate the support there on the stream. And yeah, 140, it is going to be in the making. About to take the pink into the left corner, get himself lined up for the black. And this has been the side that I've been certainly missing from Watchalong. The perfect break there, that will be 140 from Watchalong. Total points scored in the previous 3 frames, 132. Total points scored in this frame alone, 140. This is what you need to know about the world number 1. And this is exactly why you can put him as the seeded number 5 player for this tournament, but he's still going to be a real threat no matter which tournament he's going to be playing with. For now, it's going to be all down to a bit of the action to be played in between Sean Murphy and Watchalong. And yeah, let's just go back to what we're going to see at the World Championship there, because the main draw is going to start in 3 weeks' time from now. But ultimately, right here, right now, you probably have to be saying it is looking like all the players that you felt like, how do you subscribe? Well, you just click subscribe button next to the channel. So I'm pretty sure you are already subscribed anyway, because like I enabled the chatting mode to be only for subscribers there. So if you're chatting, then you're going to be able to subscribe already at that point. So I appreciate the support. And yes, down to the World Championship then. Who is going to be the real threat? Because I was going to put Trump into that equation as well, but for him to be playing pretty well at the end of his match against Cullen, you probably have to say he should be out of that equation now, and he is playing quite well. So he is going to be the favourite. Karen Wilson, he's probably going to be more of an underdog to me. Once again, just simply for the way that his season has been going. A little bit of Moments FC there. Snooker Club, I should say. So Moments SC. I mean, has he been playing consistently for two tournaments in a row? Shanghai Masters, brilliant. The Masters of the Triple Crown, brilliant. That was it. Anything else that I should be bringing up there about Karen? Really quiet season. And he's going to have to step it up there if he wants to try and keep at least a couple of those ranking points. And that's exactly why he's not going to be playing in the Players' Championship. And that's exactly why he's not going to be playing in the Tour Championship either. And as I'm second and Kevin is third, we're set for the semi-finals and the World's draw. Well, the interesting thing is that does seem like the way the draw works. So the world number 1 is going to be heading for, well, the top seeded player, because sometimes, the Crucible has got a bit of a different scenario of a draw, where you have got the winner getting the most favourable side of a draw. If you are talking about purely the ranking perspective, you should have a situation where the world number 2 and the world number 3 should be meeting in the semi-finals, and on the other side of the draw, you're going to have the world number 1 playing against number 4, which potentially gives you a bit more of an advantage as to being the world number 1 at that point. So yeah, Watchalong, another player that has, it's unfair to be talking about him at the Tour Championship, but we've seen a little bit of a drop-off from Watchalong because he had a horrible match at the World Open against Gary Wilson, and he had a horrible match against Stuart Bingham, which, to be fair, that's enough in snooker for you to be out for a month there, really, because it's now been exactly a month since Barry Hawkins was able to take triumph over Jack Lisowski in the final of the Welsh Open. 2 weeks on this Sunday, where we've seen Chip Chayanu to be defeating Ronnie O'Sullivan there. A bit like Republic of Ireland versus Northern Ireland in World Cup final in USA this year. Well, I know that the draw has been done, but I'm not sure you're going to be able to make it this far. But to be fair, something that my country can't say, you're actually in the World Cup, so fair play for doing that. And was watching the playoffs yesterday, but that's going to be a topic for another day. Talk about Watchalong. Is he going to be able to break the Crucible curse? The answer is probably will, but the realistic answer is let me wait until the draw. A bit of a skeptical and a bit of a boring answer there, but we'll have to wait and see on who he's going to be up against, because as much as you can say a couple of things about Watchalong, he's certainly been playing really well against the lower ranking seeds. Stuart Bingham is not going to be the world number 40, which still could be someone that you can get a draw in the Crucible, because it's going to be down to 16 top players. It's going to be 16 qualifiers, and the qualifiers are going to feature the likes of Bingham, Gary Wilson, Chip Chayanu, Zhang Anda. I don't know who else can be in there. Barry Hawkins is going to be in the top 16. Let's have a look how well the ranks are going to be there. Barry's in world number 11. So, outside of the top 16, it seems like Ding is going to be safe, because I'm not sure if there's going to be anyone that can drop him out of the top 16. It was only Chip Chayanu there, wasn't there? And he was already out. So, give it a little bit of a walk there. Stuart Bingham, Jack Lisowski, Jack Jones, Zhang Anda, Elias Lesser, Chip Chayanu, Ali Carter, Gary Wilson, Joey Long, David Gilbert, Stephen Maguire, Joe O'Connor, Pan Jing Su, Li Beifan, Yuan Sujun, and Tom Ford, the top 32 players. And, there you have it. Any one of those is going to be a bit of a challenge there. You feel like the likes of David Gilbert. Well, to be fair, Gilbert plays well at the Crucible. And as far as I'm aware, he's going to have loads of those ranking points to try and defend as well, because he was the one that reached the semi-finals in the 2024 season. Well done, Judd. English should be good. Well, yeah, he is, to be fair. England got a bit of a... I can't remember, actually, if they got an easy draw or a difficult draw there. And Ding 16, yes, he is going to be the world number 16. So, what was I going to say there? Yeah, the run of Dave Gilbert in the 2024 World Championship, I'm not sure. I felt like Bingham was playing against Kyron, that went on to obviously beat him, and then beat Jack Jones in the final. And then that leaves Jack Jones to be playing against David Gilbert there. Let's have a look. So, World Championship. The good thing is, on the internet, you can do it pretty quickly now. So, 2024, I got that one wrong. So, it was Gilbert against Wilson, and it was Bingham against Jones there. So, yeah, Bingham didn't have a good run in that semi-finals at all, but neither did Gilbert there. And to be fair, he was probably one of those... I remember people calling that probably the worst World Championship campaign that we've had. And by the way, I always say that. Don't take anything away from Wilson, because you've got to be in it to win it. But it's not his fault that you've seen the likes of Trump, Higgins, O'Sullivan all to be eliminated before the semi-finals. And then the likes of Mark Cullen. Oh, that incredible decider with John Higgins against Mark Cullen. That double that he's taken on, by the way, was absolutely incredible. Sean Murphy, all the likes of those players. Si Jiahui have been already eliminated at that stage. Mark Williams, Ding Junhui have all been knocked out. Mark Selby have all been knocked out in the first round there. Luca Brissell, unable to beat that Crucible Curse, losing out to David Gilbert himself, despite leading by 5 frames to 2, 7 frames to 3, 9 frames to 6. Wow, Brissell had a bad run out there. Wakelin is kind of a player that can pull it off on any day there. Well, yeah, Wakelin is going to be in the top 16 though, quite comfortably, I'm pretty sure. And yeah, he's going to be the world number 30. Wakelin had a really good run this season though. He managed to get himself through to the semi-final of Saudi, which gets you 100,000 of those ranking points. And, well, to be fair, I mean, if that is true, how come he's only on 250,000 if he gets 100,000 from reaching semis of the Saudi, then he gets 100,000 from making the win of the Scottish Open? How on earth has he managed to only have 64,000 more from the rest of the entire season there? That seems to be way below average there for him. But whatever he was. By the way, the table number 2 is about to get started. It is Barry Hawkins 2, Neil Robertson 2. So the intermission is going to be over at that point. They seem to be slightly further ahead of us. But we're about to get that Sean Murphy against Chom to be underway once again as well. By the way, brilliant shot there by Robertson. He seems to be really taking that one to the stage. And it's good to see Hawkins finally playing quite well as well, after not having his best snooker to be shown against Chip China. I don't rank is how they take points off after the season, how that works. So you've got 2 systems of the rankings. You've got the 1-year list, which is going to be relevant for the tournaments like this, the Tour Championship, the Players Championship, and some of the other tournaments as well. But I'm pretty sure it's only going to be 2 of those this season. And then you've got the main point system of the ranking points, which is going to be considered for all the Triple Crown events, all the ranked events in general, apart from the Players and the Tour Championship. Basically, the way it works, you've got a 2-year system. You start with 0, so from the first year that you got yourself a tour, and every points that you score in ranking, so it's equivalent to the prize money that you get in those ranking events, you get yourselves to be added up. Then, at the end of those 2 seasons, after you started that career of yours, that is going to be relevant to someone that came up from the academy or something. At the end of those 2 seasons, at the start of the 3rd season, you have, as you go by those tournaments, every single tournament that you start 2 years ago at the same tournament, you're going to have those ranking points wiped out. So say, for example, we're in 2026 Saudi Masters. Trump managed to win that one 2 years ago in 2024. Incredible decider against Williams. He loses 500,000 worth of ranking points before the tournament starts. And then, if he's going to be able to win that Saudi thing again, he gets off 500,000 very much back on the board. So he's not going to be adding those on top, because he already managed to do it within that 2-year period. He's only going to be getting those points back to himself. And that works with every single one of those tournaments. Get your thing. There you go. Managed to sort it out. I'm not great with explaining there, but it's not too difficult for you to understand, because it sounds complicated, but I'll explain. Thank you. Yeah, it actually doesn't feel that bad when you get into that sort of stuff. So it's all going to be down to, well, I actually couldn't believe, I knew that Crucible Curse was in place there, because Brissell managed to defeat Ronnie very much earlier on there. I'm not sure if it was the first round match in the 2023 or whether it was a different sort of scenario. I'm pretty sure it was the last 16. So let's have a look. 2023. Was it quarterfinal? Was it last 16? No, it was the quarterfinal. So the Crucible Curse wasn't quite relevant to Ronnie O'Sullivan, because he was still able to have a really good run against Hossein Vafai, 13 frames to 2, and beating Pang Jung-soo 10 frames to 7 in the first round match. I can start my snooker career at 45 and beat world champion by 95. Well, potentially. I don't know if that works out perfectly well, but never impossible. And by the way, Hawkins and Robertson are still battling their way. That's how the difficult, and no, don't worry about it. It's, as I say, it's not difficult, because it works similar to the other sports as well. For example, tennis. But sometimes when you haven't got the sort of pre-introduction to it, may be a little bit difficult for you to grasp. But trust me, there's nothing difficult about that one. So then, 2 more minutes, and then we should welcome the players back onto the arena. Yeah, by the way, talk about that brilliant break of Chomp. Once again, the thing about Chomp, and it always has been relevant, is that 2-0, 4-0, 5-0, 6-0, he's always going to have frames like that when he's going to be able to get that early chance with a fantastic long read that he had. Yes, he was a bit of a bad safety from Murphy, but he wasn't bad enough for him to be ending that frame, basically with a break of 140 for his opponent, because now it's going to be a little bit of work to be done in the practice room, but Trump will be really buzzing to try and get himself back on the score sheet straight away at the start of the 5th frame. Make sure he's not going to be repeating the same story of Mark Cullen, where he wasn't really out of zone of Allen until frame number 12 or something. These guys are reveling up for the Worlds. And yeah, the thing about the World Championship that I was going to say, that you talk about the top seeded players, Robertson and Williams haven't actually shown anything to me. I will be watching the replay of Robertson against Hawkins later on though, but Robertson is going to be probably the biggest. If you call Robertson to be your sort of favourite for the World Championship, I want to see what you're getting onto there, because so far, once again, he managed to get himself to be the king of Saudi, the Prince of Saudi against Zhao Xington in the final of that Riyadh Championship of the Golden Ball, where he managed to lose out the final, but beat Ronnie O'Sullivan in the final 10 frames to 9 there. But ultimately, the point that I was going to make, when was the last time we've seen Robertson have a really deep run in tournament? Same with Williams. Same with Selby, really. I mean, the player that has been Mr. Consistency for the last, well, 2 decades, really. Decades, certainly. Where has Selby been ever since winning those back-to-back titles of the Champion of Champions and the UK Championship there? Had a really quiet run at the Masters. And had a really quiet run at the, what's it called? At the rest of those tournaments as well. Managed to reach the semi-finals of the English Open. Lost out to Joey Long. Didn't really get too far with that one. Robertson struggling, I think. Yes, agree with that one. Do you think Ronnie will want to win one more time? Be top line ahead of Hendry? That kind of job. Yeah, but listen, there's been a story of how many seasons now? You know, in 2022, when he was having that interview, how, like, the statement and the quote was, by the way, players are coming back to the arena. Stephen says it's an honour to be sharing that 7th title with you. And the response from Ronnie was, yeah, it's nice, you know, and we can share it for a year. Fast forward 12 months, lose out to Luca Brazil quarterfinals. Fast forward another 12 months, and lose out to, Stuart Bingham in the quarterfinals. Fast forward 36 months, lose out to Zhao Xington in that horrible run, by the way. I don't know how on earth he managed to get himself into the semi-finals, despite playing so badly. And now, lost out in the semi-finals. Inevitably, to be fair, you can see the sequence there. Quarterfinals, semi-finals. So, unless he's going to be achieving semi-finals again here, maybe he's going to be able to take it to the final. And then apart from that season in 2014, you know, he seems to have been unbeaten in the Crucible finals out there. So, yeah, he will be a real big threat there, Ronnie, especially if he manages to keep up that form, get that training in, get that physical strength of him to be his for the taking. And then, of course, he's not going to be playing here. He's got the great tournament in Ireland to be playing at the memory of John Virgo at the 11th and 12th of April, where he's going to have that match against Stephen Hendry one more time. As trying to get himself through to the through to the final and play either Mark Williams or John Higgins. And once again, you can see that red that he missed in the 3rd frame. That's when it all started to go wrong for him. And fast forward to 100 points or so, Trump is now finding himself. Oh, that's a really back shot there from Murphy. Really rarely you see the players to be catching the cue ball with the blue. And, well, it's not going to be a free ball to be given away, which is good, but it's going to be 5 points to be given away over to Judge Trump. So let's see what's it going to be now for him. Thing about Ronnie is that you can say he's no interest in the game, then he beats some top guy 10-0. Yes, and that's a good thing. But what I also really love to be seeing from Ronnie is that he's actually saying that for now, he's enjoying himself. And, well, I mean, when I say for now, I talk about World Open. And, you know, before reaching the semi-finals at that stage, and of course being the runner-up at that, the late story of that event, he's been on saying that, well, he may not even compete in the Crucible because he feels scared. Now he certainly should be doing that. Murphy, a good front runner, but when Trump gets level, he's like a ferret chasing a hare down a rabbit hole. Well, kill. It's certainly got to go for the kill, but ultimately, when you look at Sean Murphy's point of view, what can he try and do that will... Well, I don't know why Murphy's the one that's getting 5 points out of Chomp. He's the one giving away 5 points. Sorry about that. And he's going to have the turn once again back to him. So just a little bit of time there to be getting the blue, the green, and the cue ball to be sorted out. So Clyde slightly bringing the cue ball towards the yellow. And Murphy should be happy with this one now. So just carefully bring the edge of the red. Well, to be fair, it's not going to have the 3-miss rule to be applied to him. But, I mean, the line that he's taking there, he's taking the blue again. And I can't actually believe what he's doing there because... I mean, it seems very weird what he's trying to find there. That red is not visible to me from my point of view. And no wonder he's catching the blue for the second time there. This is going to be a free ball potentially available over to Trump. So maybe he's unhappy with the referee not calling the free ball. Or he's just thinking about trying to take it from here. So again, let's have a look. From here, then, he says, so he clearly feels like the position from Sean Murphy right now is going to be more difficult than the one that he had previously. Crowd, good. Oh, yeah, crowd is brilliant, by the way. Something that you certainly can rely on in the UK. Crowd has been absolutely brilliant. And we're down to a 2-table format, you know, which means that half of the audience is going to be watching one table, half of the other. So, crowd, massive love. And, yeah, great entertainment there for the players, certainly being on top of their game. Someone that hasn't been on top of the game ever since that missed red is Sean Murphy. And no wonder Trump has decided to be putting him in that position. Didn't ask him to be playing that 5 points guarantee over shot now. And this time around, he's going to be catching the blue after trying to get that cue ball to be heading safe. And that means Trump is going to have a really good chance to try and take this frame to be developing the similar way to the previous one. Takes the red nicely into the right corner. And for the first time in this match, finds himself ahead. So then, 283 points that he scored there. After scoring an incredible break of 140 points. Can he try and respond with a potential back-to-back frame winning breaks? I'm not going to be talking about a century just yet. But, you know, 18 points of a gap. Black to be available into the left corner. And, I mean, is he going to be available? He's not available into the right corner. That much I can tell you. Ooh, no, apologies for that one. A bit of misinformation. Black is going to be covered up tightly. And, yeah, it's going to be a problem that for Trump. I'm going to retract my statement very quickly because the pink is not available. The blue is out of position. The black is now covered up as well. The ball colour is on the blue for now. I'm going to have to be the balls for Trump to be using. And, yeah, if he's going to be taking this round carefully towards the right side cushion, then he should be able to find the back of those reds once again. Don't be proud of his nephew blowing Murphy away with the snooker explosions of skill. Well, at least he's doing that in a nice way. Let's put it like that. That's probably the nicest way for me to put it because there's not a lot you can say. And break worth 10k, worth the try. Well, it was the break of 140 that he had in the previous frame. He's not going to be able to replicate that here for sure because he has already lost out on so many of those points by taking the yellow previously and about to take probably brown or blue. It doesn't need to be taking the green here at all because it's going to have a straight line of that cue ball heading all the way to the top end of the table. So then carefully taking that blue all the way into the green pocket, positioning that cue ball to be lined up for the red. And Apex apologies. Now, it's, as I say, I get it. Nothing wrong with that. I haven't said it was marginal, but it was within boundaries. You know, as you say in Formula 1, you'll probably get a track limits warning for that one, but nothing more of that. Now, once again, Trump is going to have 30 points of the advantage. And I tell you what, you're going to take that at this stage of a frame because, you know, you've got the red lined up at the left corner, which probably is going to be the end of a clear-cut line. Oh, he's about to be lined up with that one shot. Well, he's going to be one shot short of that one. because unable to get past the brown with that cue ball, and trying to send the white around the table sometimes doesn't go to plan, and it seems like he's still going to have his eyes full of the red into the right corner. He's managed to take a similar shot like that previously, and he hasn't managed to take this one away. Ambitious that from Chomp, but to be fair, it's probably going to be one of those positions that you can say it's acceptable for him to be giving that. And yes, do you think having extra game is good or bad for players who didn't get the buy? To be fair, I get what you're saying there. It's going to be interesting to see the start of this match from Murphy, but you can't really get down to that factor there because Murphy was the one that was flying through the gears in the first couple of frames. So, you know, the whole thing about getting the buy into the second round is that you're going to be rusty in the first couple of frames there, and then you should have all of that sorted. By the way, a fantastic shot there from Murphy, and he certainly managed to get one of those issues to be sorted, had the main bunch of those reds to be positioned all super close to each other. Now he's going to have 6 of those to be wide away from each other, and despite being 29 points behind, still having the black to be covered up by another red, and having one more red to be onto the left side. Well, he's managed to fix the biggest issue there, and let's see if he's going to be able to try and make the most out of those reds, as well as now he's got the pink available for one shot only there, it would seem, because I feel like the pink spot is going to be covered up by those reds. But there's going to be the brown spot, which is free of charge right now. So that's going to be the parking space for the pink to be settling for the next couple of minutes or so. And at least it's free. Something that you can't say about all the places in Manchester, which is of course where the East match is going to be played. Now 22 points behind there with Sean Murphy. He's having a bit of a look towards the pink and the yellow, which clearly suggests that if he's not going to be playing for the blue, he's going to have those ball colours to be used there for him. To be fair, that's perfect cue ball control. And getting just about lined up for the blue to be taken into left middle. 141 win top break, someone will beat it. You sure about that, Kevin? I mean, I don't argue with you, so probably after that statement I should make a bet on it, but I mean, really, we're now down to quarterfinals. Yes, I understand it's going to be a race to 10. Yes, I suppose we haven't seen the likes of Selby, Zington at all. Yeah, to be fair, I get that point, but I also feel like, you know, there's going to be more and more of those frames and matches where we see trying to grind it all out and try and take it all the way to the end. So it could be a bit of a different story there. But, I mean, 1-4-1 doesn't sound ridiculous, but when you talk about the break that Trump had, using brown once, using the blue once, using the pink twice, and all the rest of those shots we were taking with the black, it's going to be a bit of a challenge to do that. But then, you know, Chipchai is going to be saying like, well, you know what, you probably can't say that, but then I'm the one that managed to make a maximum break in frame number 16 there, so you mustn't forget about that in the final of a ranking event. Murphy queuing good, looks dangerous, yes, 146 at least, well, love the banter there. But I feel like 146 has got no chance of being made, what should be made in this match now. But yeah, I mean, 146 technically goes and becomes even more of a rare break than it is to make a 147. Certainly if you compare the number of 147 maximum breaks that has been made previously, and if you compare that number to 146 that would have been made in the history of the snooker and the sport. Now then, the blue is about to be taken here by Murphy. That has underrun slightly for this particular shot, and it looks like he'll find himself in a little bit of trouble here. So what's he going to be here with Murphy? Is he going to have a chance to try and go back for the yellow? But, I mean, the shot in the yellow, to be fair, seems appealing to me because he's got one more red to be taken at the top end of the table. And last thing that Murphy wants to be doing right now is to be losing some valuable points, but ultimately is to have a loss of a run of the ball there. To be fair, able to take the blue nicely. And now getting himself lined up with just 5 points being the difference in between those two players. Murphy now having a little bit of a look towards the pink and the ball colours yet again. So taking this red carefully down to the left corner. Getting himself lined up for the blue. About to be taken into the right middle as well. So then he's going to be looking at potentially 20 or 30 points of the advantage. He's now going to be bringing himself perfectly lined up with 2 frames each and 35 points scored by each of those players. So 59 still in play. So then, how many points can he try and score? Well, it's not 59 in play, it's 67 in play. Don't know why that says that. There we go, that's sorted out. 67 in play, 35 points each. About to make it 59 in play though. And the factor of him not using the pink or black, one being out of position, the other being covered up by the red, as Murphy once again asking the referee to clean the white for the second time in the match. So certainly not doing that with too much of a frequency. Yeah, how many points is he going to be able to score out of those 32 points before he gets to that red next to the side cushion? And also you need to be keeping that red next to the black in mind as well. Now 6 points is the advantage, and just having a look towards this red about to be taken into the left corner as well. Ideally, of course, something that you would have liked to see is the pink to be right next to the black ball and potential cannon of the cue ball. You know, you could see with his face there that he potentially would have been looking for a bit more of the angle to try and force that cue ball to be heading towards the black and the red combination. Now, instead, he's going to have to force himself to be using the yellow or pink. But in the end, the train that I was talking about, needing that pink, is no longer valuable. You know, you can get that pink in play, but it's not going to help you to try and develop the cluster of the black and the red next to each other. So Murphy once again just having a look towards the yellow pocket to see what's about to be happening here. And it seems like something that is going to be happening is that he needs to be taking the yellow here ideally, because if he takes the pink, he's going to be under real threat of not making it to the last of those available reds. And then the 2 that he hasn't got the position for, and he won't get the position for unless he made contact with them, are going to be even more difficult for him to try and make contact with. Now the 9 points advantage, the last of the available reds. And once again, I mean, I seem to be ahead by a red there with no particular reason. I don't know what on earth is happening with the table. Brilliant shot there, by the way, by Murphy, but he's going to have to pay the price for it now. And yeah, the price that he needs to pay is going to have to be the factor of taking this red carefully into the side cushion. Now, with the pink not being in play, he calls the blue ball. This is going to be a difficult shot for him to be taking into the green pocket. Now, has he managed to take it? Yes, he has. Brilliantly played there by Murphy. And look at the angle that he has on the red as well. The one that he has managed to get himself lined up for. He seems to have a perfect line to be sending that cue ball all the way into the cluster of the pink and the black and the red. The problem point is going to have to be he's only got the black to try and play that positional shot for, which means if that goes wrong, it's not going to be a blue for him to play for the second time. And also, that's going to be awkward trying to breach over that pink with all of his body mass. Well, somehow he manages to have that red to be heading all the way and around with a cue ball, not touching the black or the red. So then, it's now going to be down to 16 points of a difference in favour of Shaun Murphy. What can he try and do off this blue here to try and put him 21 points clear? And see what he's going to be able to do with that last red next to the black. It was always going to be a challenge, pretty much impossible for him to complete. Started really well from making a firm contact from the cue ball onto the main bunch of those reds. And now he's about to have the black freed up from the red. Let's see if he's going to be able to make it though. He needs that shot to be working out perfectly well here for Murphy. And loads of topspin here on the cue ball. No, he seems to be taking the pace away from it. And, well, he's clearly done the maths there, something that I haven't done before. And placing that blue onto the left side cushion is going to be a bit of a deja vu from what Trump has done in frame number 3. So then, Murphy clearly finds himself in a situation where he's not going to need the blue, whereas Trump will. And, well, is it going to be time? I'm not suggesting anything, but this is a red which he's managed to put previously beforehand. It's over the right middle. The cue ball is perfectly lined up for the black ball cushion, but when I say the red is over the middle, It's over the middle at the top end of it. Now, is he going to be looking at that shot that we're all thinking about? Bounce that cue ball off the ball cushion. Try and get the red in. He's put the blue ball safe, so he's going to have some sort of a safety there. Surely he's not going to be able to do that. Surely he's going for it now. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. He's actually doing it. No, come on, Sean. You can't back off it now. You can't back off. It's too late. We want to see that. We want to see entertainment. He was about to play that shot into the cushion, and he's still about to play that shot into the cushion. He needs to be taking that close to the green spot. Now then, the cue ball is left. Seems to be good. Ooh, close. Really close, but not close enough. Good shot, though, by Sean, because, you know, he could have easily taken that as a safety play. And in the end, he was trying to give the fans what they came here for. And, yeah, taking that cue ball all the way past the 1.5 lengths of the table. Well, let's see if it is going to be fortune favours the brave. Or is it going to be Watchalong to be taking the shred into the left middle? That was always going to happen, but now the axiom of the blue, the brown and the pink is going to come into play. The blue is out of position in terms of it being out of open play, and pink and brown are going to be very much further away from the usual spots than you usually have to say. Try and make sure he fixes that issue straight away and gets that pink to be heading towards the green pocket. Now, he's about to be 9 points clear, 9 points behind I should say, with 27 at the table. So he will need all of these colours up to the pink there. Hi there, I'm late for Chomp. You certainly are, Letitia. And as I said to Kevin, good news is we were all full there on the neon green. And I did try to come back with the statement that John Higgins is going to be retiring after the end of the season. Of course, if you haven't figured it out, it was a joke. He's hopefully going to be continuing to have us as snooker fans entertained throughout the major part of next season too. I mean, he can't retire after the season that he's had, by the way. I mean, surely he has to retire after a little bit of a drop-off. I mean, how many finals has John Higgins managed to make so far this season is going to be a topic for later on, because now Watchalong is about to make it 51 points each and unable to bring the blue into the open play. So, the race for the blue here, both of the players will need the blue and the pink, and in the end that move of Murphy putting that blue safe certainly was the reason why he was playing that incredible shot with taking that cue ball all the way onto the ball cushion. And a little bit of fortune there from Chomp this time. It's going to be 18 points in play, and it's now going to be a snooker in play as well here for Sean Murphy to try and get himself out of. So, blue and pink is all you need for a 3-2 lead, but which one of those two, man from England, is going to be able to get it from the right side this time? It's going to be from Murphy. 2 cushions, got a bounce, needs that cue ball to keep running, and he's going to run over the middle. Not quite over the middle, to be fair, as he's got a bit of force to be further up from the middle than Trump would have been like to see, but still, this one should be put away pretty easily. And don't even have to worry about the position on the pink either, because just give it a big bounce there from the cue ball, and that's exactly what he's done there. Brilliant shot there from Chomp, and just about able to get past the pink with a good controlled shot from the cue ball. One shot away from making it ahead in this match for the first time, and it is going to be 11 points. That is going to be enough there from Watchalong to be taking this frame away from Sean Murphy. Sean Murphy, that was the one to entertain the fans at some stage. It's now going to be all down to him to try and stop that frame-winning machine there from Watchalong. The breaks of 58, 140, and I'm not sure the one that was highest in this frame, to be fair. But he certainly was able to grind out the performance here, and now leads Sean Murphy by 3 frames to 2. Higgins playing well would be a shout out for the world to go deep. Yes, but I mean, there's 2 points. One completely the opposite to the other. Is he going to be a good force to be winning the World Championship, to be going deep into the World Championship? Let's start with the negatives first. But let's say thank you very much, by the way. Thank you for everyone tuning into the stream. Feel free to hit the like and subscribe to the channel. The reason why Higgins has had such a consistent run but hasn't won a title lies in the biggest challenge of a crucible to me personally. Once again, it's only my opinion. every single time he gets to the final, he seems to be drowned. Sorry, not drowned. He seems to be absolutely, what's the word I'm thinking about? He seems to be sort of tired, fatigued, knackered, or whatever. Not drowned. He wouldn't get to the final if he was drowned there. Don't know where that came from. Anyway, he seems to be absolutely fatigued to the maximum level. And the biggest challenge of Crucible is that you need to survive the survival of the fittest. 17 days of a challenge there. He's not going to be able to go deep for me unless he's going to have a really bad run here, which already doesn't seem like it's working out because he's managed to defeat Williams in a tiring match from 10 frames to 8. It's going to be the same with Williams. It's going to be the same with Higgins, and it could be the same with Ronnie as well. But Ronnie's not playing in this tournament, and he's had a really good run at the World Open. So I feel like he might actually be having the best run of events of anyone so far. And we'll have to wait and see on how this one goes. By the way, I mean, if you've seen the shot that Robertson has just played, he nearly managed to get the red into the left corner. And at the end, he's forced another red to be over the right corner now. So he's on the collar. I don't know how he's going to be able to put that one safe, but good luck with that one, Neil. Yeah, so consistency over longevity there from Higgins. A final in Nanjing. Not going to say the legs have gone, but he was nowhere near his best form against Stephen Maguire in a match against Weezer and lost out that one pretty comfortably. And it was purely down to Weezer not taking his chances there. The scoreline could have easily been 10-3, 10-4, something like that. The fact that it was 10-6 was purely down to the incredible skill of Higgins, always able to find those late frame steals. And yeah, in the end, it's now going to be down to Sean Murphy to break off to start this 6th frame here. He needs to end this winning streak there of Trump. And Trump just needs to keep doing what he's doing there. Go for those long shot chances and make sure that you utilize those opportunities just about as well as he has done in the 2nd frame and in the 4th frame, I mean, and to an extent in the 3rd frame as well. Yes, long tournament, don't say win, go deep. Yeah. This is what I'm saying. That even to go deep, for me, John Higgins to go deep is the semi-final. A quarter-final should be taken for granted there for someone like John Higgins because of, you know, him being a legend of the game. Quarter-final means that you win first 2 rounds. The first round is going to be a qualifier, and there's not a qualifier in the world, pretty much in the history of snooker, that I will say is going to have to be a favourite against John Higgins. So it's going to be probably a match of against the top 16 player in the 2nd round. That will be the biggest challenge for John to get through to the quarter-final. And then, you know, down to the last 4, he's going to have to beat one of the big cheese guys to try and get himself down to the last 4. But yeah, I mean, to win it is going to be the opposite there of John Higgins. By the way, Murphy, wow, he's having such a bad run for now. I don't know why the crowd are applauding that one. And stopped in no time because of realizing that, well, to be fair, I should be a little bit kinder to them. Sometimes the view from the crowd is going to be so different from what you see on the TV. So they could have thought that the cue ball is going to be having the yellow to be in the way. Miscue, you heard that one here first. Yeah, you could see that one here, and even see the line of the cue ball was way off. And even though that red was in the pocket, basically, Trump still manages to keep that one away from the corner pocket. Would have been nowhere near on the black anyway, even if that red's gone into the left corner. Murphy, once again with a chance to try and end that drought. Drought was the word that I was thinking about, not drowned. Drought. There we go. Got that one sorted out. It's only taken me half an hour. But with all the sort of praise that you can give to Trump on some of those occasions, you also have to give him a little bit of slack there as well. I mean, how on earth is he not winning this frame now? How on earth is he not having a really good run in the previous frame? Why was he given a chance away to Murphy, which needed a massive shot entertainer to be taking that cue ball all the way to the top end of the table? Because right now, Murphy's having one of the worst forms of the season there, especially when it comes to the opposition, when it comes to the first to 10 of the tournament. And this is exactly what you would have expected there to be seen from Murphy in the first couple of frames, because it's going to be his first match since the World Open, where he didn't really get too far as I'm aware. But he just needs those type of breaks there for him to try and feel alive again and try and get it down to those last 2 frames. You know, it's been 2 hours since the match has started, and let's see the way that either one of those 2 players will be able to take the match under their control. You probably are looking at 5-3, either way there. If it's going to be a performance to remember for Watchalong or Shaun Murphy, either one of those 2, but 4-all can still be possible, but 6-2 is not going to happen here. Even though Trump had such a good run in the previous 3 frames, he's not going to be able to win the remaining 3 frames. He just hasn't shown enough consistent form there. You know, he's had incredible glimpses of that. Had some great momentum at the end of the first mini session, but of course that had to be brought to an end after the intermission of 15 minutes came. Was able to win the frame, not in a single visit to the table, but still at last, despite being the one chasing the tail of Murphy without the majority of the part of that frame. He was able to come out on top, and now Murphy once again having a really good opportunity to try and go really deep in terms of points that he scores in this break. 32 is the advantage. Now having a look at those 2 reds about to be taken. One into the right corner, the other one into the left part of the table as well. So just having a very careful look at the white. I mean, ideally, he wants to try and leave that red by the right corner for now, because A, it's going to be awkward for him to try and reach that red anyway right now, but also it's going to be a very passive shot in relation to you just try and play for the black, whereas sometimes it's going to be the perfect red for you to try and play backwards for the blue, which he could still need if he is going to be trying to make contact with those reds. But just as I say that, he changes his mind again. It goes for that red that I mentioned. Even though it is going to be a rest shot, it's going to be very simple for Murphy to put this one away. No decided games yet, will be a couple. And yeah, I would actually, well, obviously, like, I feel like it's probably going to be one of the things for you to expect. So the way that the first round matches are finished, let's have a look through them. Trump has beaten Mark Allen 10-8. Hawkins has beaten Chipchaya 10-8. Then Mark Williams has lost out to John Higgins 10-8. I didn't actually realise that 3 of those matches have finished 10-8. What was the 4th one then? Can't think. Chris Wakeland against Weezer 10-6. Yep, that one. 8 frames on the bounce there for Chris Wakeland. Bad shot though for Murphy. A really bad shot for Murphy. Wow. He didn't need to be doing that now. Well, he probably did, to be fair. Try to get those reds to be moving across towards the left corner, but doing that from the red itself always puts you in a little bit of danger of not being on the collar. Having that ping to be cannoned away didn't help either. He's managed to take this blue in the previous frame. He needs to be taking it again, and he's done it. The work is not done yet. 3-10-8, yes, and 1-10-6 as well. So the work is not done yet. He still has got a red, which is going to be a mid-range shot there at most, but manages to play that one really well, and firm contact as well. Make sure that he's going to be having a little bit of the angle on the black. I feel like he's got it, and even if he doesn't, he should be able to just try and play that shot backwards with the backspin to be added onto the side cushion. It's probably the shot that he's going to play anyway. I mean, he's got the same red to be possible into the left middle, which means topspin, position that cue ball onto the right part of the table, or backspin, position the cue ball at the left part of the table and try and take that red into the right corner. This is going to be the last red that I can see available there to Murphy. Let's see if he's going to be able to see anything else. Play the shot badly to me. Well, I mean, I'm not going to say he's played it too badly, but he's got that cue ball to be way too wide. He clearly had the angle on the black, but he's had too much of the angle to me. That cue ball is going to be way too far away from the red to make it a comfortable shot, but also way too close to the side cushion. So it's still the one that you would expect him to take, but at this stage, you could see this one being missed as well. Ooh, just about rolls this one in. Front jaw, helping him out on this occasion. So 55 points as a difference. Once again, we've seen so many of those frames to be won by a single break there, especially from Shaun. 73, 59, about to make it 60 plus now. And carefully taking the red into the right corner here as well. So then, ooh, I mean, could have landed nicer, to be fair, on either one of those 6 reds. He's got one into the right corner, he's got one into the right middle, but he's probably going to take the one into the right corner. The cue ball Probably is going to be a couple of millimeters lower than that red positioning. So still needs to be taken care of, and he's managed to do that pretty well. Once again, not compromising himself this time around on the blue. About to take it into the left middle as well, and just carefully place that cue ball to be lined up for the red to be taken into the left part of the table. So ahead by 66 points, 75 remaining. So it's going to be brought back to the level playing field of 67 being the advantage and remaining at the table. And after the brilliant form of Watchalong, it seems to have finally come to an end after a bit of a sloppy shot there, which left out a chance for Sean Murphy. And this time around, it is going to be taken with full advantage there. Total points, once again, Murphy's the one that's taking the lead in that aspect, despite, you know, Trump's highest break being pretty much twice as high there that Murphy has managed. But he's going to have a response right now, potentially coming his way. He's going to be in the top 6 there, as far as I'm aware, in terms of the this season's century count of the players list, behind the likes of Mark Selby, Xiaozington, Watchalong, and I'm not sure if there's going to be anyone else ahead of Sean Murphy, but you can see a very interesting stat there. 12 reds that he's taken, 3 blues, 8 blacks. Didn't take either one of those shots with a pink, and now about to take another blue, nicely to the left corner. They are gentlemen, no fighting, but they don't like each other. I don't know. Don't really have that information, so I'm not going to really say anything about it, but they never seem like there's going to be any sort of disrespecting between the two of them, so I don't know what you mean by that, to be honest with you. If you're not going to be taking this black now into the left corner. Now it's 96 points of a break here for Murphy. So about to be 2 shots away from another century break. Break of 140 was certainly the great start for the campaign of Sean Murphy. And by the way, I mean, you talk about that 140 not being beaten. If my math is correct, and it's now going to be a fantastic break of 104 points, it is going to be a potential for a 139 there. If Murphy makes this one to go all the way and takes this red with a black, which he certainly will try to do. Now then, taking a wonderful red into the corner and still getting himself lined up for the black. So, my statement of that break of 140 still being highest is going to be valid for now. Well, it looks like it's going to be very close to a 139 there of response. Or is it going to be the case? Yeah, just about. He's still finding this yellow. You know, he doesn't need to be perfectly lined up on it, so just carefully taking it to the right middle. 139 there. Is he going to be the 139? Well, the yellow is in. The cue ball is still placed very awkwardly on the bulk line here. So just try and take the green onto the yellow pocket right now. Is he going to be front jaw? Is he going to be middle of the pocket? It is going to be middle of the pocket, but it doesn't get any better from Murphy, because as soon as he solves one of those issues, you just put the pink to be safe on the side cushion. So then, just try and give it a little bit of a nudge from that cue ball. Has he managed to do that? It seems like he has, perfectly placed once again. So take all that power away from the cue ball on the blue. Make sure you give yourself a chance to be taking this pink away. I actually think Murphy's a better player on the eye than Trump, although I still think Trump has a stronger game. To me, they're very similar styles, but I prefer to be watching Trump a little bit more. But to be fair, I don't really have a preference, honestly. It's purely because of Trump, but I don't know. Honestly, I've got no answer for you. Unfortunately, it's not going to be a 139 because Sean Murphy wasn't able to get himself close enough to the black. But look at that, the reception from the crowd and certainly from his box is going to be supreme there. A 132 to finish that frame number 6 and make sure that he's going to keep Trump very much aware of the factor of he's not out of this match just yet and he's still very much back in the game. By the way, look at how synchrone those two matches are going there. Barry Hawkins, Neil Robertson 3-all, 0-0 on the score sheet. Sean Murphy, Watchalong 3-all, 0-0 on the score sheet as well. Seems like it's going absolutely on sync there. And yeah, thank you very much for everyone that is keeping the stream on sync, by the way, as well. Feel free to hit a like on the stream and subscribe to the channel. We're still going to have a decision to be made there on the session 2, because I'll be honest with you, I've got absolutely no clue on what shall we do for the second session. And apparently, let's keep that one for 60-40 in favour of Trump. Let's do a poll on that. what do you want in the second session? Because now I have a bit of a preference of my own. Plan for evening session. Because usually I would be the one that will say, if Zhao is playing, I'm not going to be bothered about who's going to be on the other table. It is going to be Zhao. But because of how well this match has gone so far, I actually am going to be thinking about going for Murphy versus Chomp session 2, or Zhao versus Wakelin. Can't spell his name. Session 1. There you go, you can vote about it. I understand it's going to be a little bit biased because obviously people that want to see Trump against Murphy are here on the stream, so I'm not that sort of delusional, but still, I just want to see how many of you are actually going to be jumping on the same train as I am and say that, you know, if Zhao is playing, it's going to be worth watching no matter what happens in the remainder of the game. And for now, let's keep that poll open. So, yeah, let's see what you think about that one. And yeah, on the point that Murphy's better on the eye, I mean, I'm trying to think how Murphy's going to be different with Chomp. Honestly, both have got a great rare spot success, starting from a weird point, but anyway, both have got a great long pot success. Both are really going to be attacking players. I feel like Murphy has got a bit more of a sensibility next to his name, and once again, no disrespect to Trump in that regard, but Trump seems to be going for ridiculous shots sometimes. I very rarely see Murphy to be going for them. Honestly, which is why I was surprised why he was taking that cue ball all the way to the top end of the table, and actually not even trying to hold any power back in terms of that cue ball, trying to go all the way for the red, realizing that if he misses it, Trump probably has a chance to clear out the table, even with the blue at that point to be in a bad position. Now Trump has taken the break-off shot, and it's been 2.5 hours since the match has started, so let's see what Sean Murphy's going to be able to do here. He's got the long shot available, so what's he going to be here for him? Can he try and find himself ahead in this match for the first time since a couple of frames ago? And the answer is not yet. Close, but not close enough for that red to drop into the right corner. Hard to choose, to be honest. This is the thing for me. And when it's hard to choose, you always have to give the benefit of the doubt to the second session, which gives the benefit of the doubt towards Chomp against Murphy. But let's see the way that those two frames will go. Let's see the way that the poll is going to go as well. And also, another factor is, if Zhao Xington was playing against Weezer, no disrespect to Chris, once again, but I feel like that would have been a decision made, because Wu didn't manage to get himself through to the last 8. It's now going to be a bit more of a wide open of a choice for you to be made there. But for now, 9 out of 10, I feel like it is going to be Trump against Murphy. Ooh, there's a horrible shot there for Murphy. He needs that cue ball to drop. Very rarely see that statement to be... hear that statement to be made, but yeah, I feel like ideally he would have liked that cue ball to be dropped into the right corner, give a ball in hand to Chomp, because now, after seeing that cue ball to be so close to the black cushion, Johnny's going to have a chance to roll one of those reds towards the left corner. Is he going to have a successful attempt though? Certainly, in terms of potting the red, the cue ball is going to be way too close for the yellow pocket though, and he's still going to be lined up on the yellow, to be fair. So let's see if it's going to be the right side of the angle in terms of positioning that he has. Because technically, even if he's going to be straight, you can get away with just trying to send that cue ball to be heading all the way there. But he's not even looking at that. So clearly just looking at the perfect placement of the white, where we'll get him the perfect outcome in terms of trying to put that cue ball into a difficult position for Murphy to try and find himself in a little bit of a scrutiny, something that has been working out pretty well for Chomp on a previous occasion. And to be fair, it seems like he got that one way too far to the right side. That means the red at the top end of the table is going to be visible, so potentially could actually be a long shot now available for Sean Murphy. But with how close the cue ball is going to be towards the ball cushion, probably unlikely thing for him to happen. Now, needs that cue ball to slow down. It's going to have a little bit of a bounce there. And I say a little bit. It's going to have a lot of the bounce just about there. It would seem the brown is going to be in the way of that cue ball not seeing the red, which I mentioned previously. But of course, you could make the argument that the cue ball was tucked into the ball cushion at that stage. That's no longer going to be the case. Trump surely he's not going for this red to try and cue it. He is going for it, and now let's see where the cue ball's going to finish, because the red has bounced away from the pocket. And yeah, well, he's kind of brought the cue ball back to a safe zone to an extent, but once again, it was one of those trademark Trump shots, and this is what I mean there. I can't never see Shaun Murphy taking a shot like that or even close to it, but you know, certainly would imagine Trump to be doing that on a consistent basis. The same red is now going to be playable into the left corner there for Murphy, and this time around he's going to be able to make this one a lot closer to the pocket, and into the pocket it goes. Once again, very similar to the position that Trump had on this yellow, but with the cue ball being further away from the side cushion and having pretty much the exact same angle. Let's see what Murphy's going to be doing here. Well, he's certainly going to be trying to pot the yellow. There's no way in a million years he's going to try and get the snooker lined up. Whether he's going to be able to get it, the answer is yes, he will. And, well, once again, a little bit of a switch in terms of events there. We've seen Trump dominate the middle points of the first session. Now, can we see a bit of a good finish there from Murphy to try and guarantee that he's not going to be the one trailing heading into the evening session after winning the opening 2 frames pretty comfortably. Now then, getting lined up for the pink, about to be taken into the left part of the table as well, and a careful shot on the cue ball, and it seems to have worked out absolutely perfectly well there for Murphy, because he's only going to have 1 red available to him right now, but it's going to be enough in terms of he's going to have loads more after this red. And it's what I mean is he's got this red that he can see, and he's got the position on it, but he's still got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 those reds to be in the open play, which is certainly going to be playing for after the black. He's going to follow this red and disappear into the right corner. Plays that one well, and once again, look at how deep he was trying to get onto the cue ball so that he gives himself the better angle on the black, and making sure that shot was probably one of the most difficult ones that he had to play. He's played this one badly though. He's played this one really badly there, Murphy. He's going to be disappointed. He's going to be very disappointed. I don't know why he didn't try and play that shot further away from the contact point. And yes, he got a little bit unlucky, but that cue ball should have been anywhere near touching the lower end of the bunch with so little power there in the end, so that the cue ball couldn't break free of the company of those reds. I mean, he's got 4 reds available right next to that cue ball, but the problem is he can't see the red closest to the cue ball in the left corner properly. He can't see enough of it. The red to the right middle, he can see, but he's going to be hampered by the red that I just mentioned. And then he's got 2 more reds into the right corner, which are going to be getting in the way of each other there. So the end point, he's going to have to see a 5th red to come in and be playing a safety shot out of it. So disappointing end to the break, and really disappointing that from Murphy, because that was the chance for him to try and take it all the way. In the end, it hasn't worked out. And Trump versus Murphy session is still dominating the poll there, which is understandable. So then 17 points of a difference. Trump is going to be able to overcome that if he's going to have the chance to get back to his good game. He needs that ping to come to his rescue, and he is going to have the ping to come to his rescue. Wow, what a shot that is from Trump. Horrible was the word to describe it first, but as that cue ball finds the target point of the pink so well, the problem for Trump though, as I realised, Murphy should still have the chance to be playing that cue ball into the left-hand side of the bunch. Yes, he needs to be super precise with it, but at least he's got an option to try and get himself out of trouble. So that bunch is going to have 6 reds, all cannons super close to each other, but ultimately he's going to have a couple more of those reds to be in the way of the right corner. Well, I mean, he's having a look to be doing a bit of a Barry Hawkins against Chipchaya, where one of them was leaving a chance for the other to be taking a double along the black ball cushion. It hasn't worked out. I'm pretty sure it was Hawkins there, trying to give a little bit of a bait towards Chipchaya there. So now what's he going to be? Trying to go for this red to be taken away from the black ball cushion. Well, something that he does need to be doing in either of those cases is that he needs to judge the pace of that cue ball to be absolutely spot on there. So what's it going to be? The decision is going to have to come from Murphy at some point. It's been more than a minute since the previous shot was ended there from Trump's point of view. Now Murphy, what can he try and do about the position of the cue ball? Is he going to have a chance to try and take the white all the way towards the left side cushion? I mean, surely he needs to be taking that one towards the left-hand side of the main bunch of those reds. He's trying to pot that red. He's trying to pot that red. He's going to be super close to it. And well, did he deserve for that red to drop in somehow. And you can see he's going to be giving him a thumbs up there. And he's going to be fuming. And I can understand why. Wow, how on earth do you touch that red from the right side, from the left, well, from the correct side, with it being the left part of that red, and still have that red to stay out? Is going to be absolutely beyond me. I mean, that shot was absolutely perfect. Yeah, he got that one a little bit too much and full in the face, and yeah, thumbs up sarcastically there from Murphy. Last thing that he needed, but to be fair, only has himself to blame. He had that run of 18 points that he scored, and nobody asked him to run himself out of position. Didn't play that safety shot as well as he could have, and in the end Trump was able to, well, put himself under a little bit of pressure for a millisecond before that cue ball found the target off the pink on the green spot, and now Trump is going to have a chance to be sending that cue ball all the way across the black ball cushion. And once again, this is a perfect example of how high IQ can get you from A to B there. Brilliant shot from Trump, just how well he's managed to calculate the risks of taking that cue ball along the black ball cushion, make sure that he passes the black with the cue ball and cannons one of those reds to be even closer away to the left corner. Brilliant shot there by Judd. And all the luxury that Murphy was going to have to his name, he's about to go to the world number 1 with only having 9 points as a difference. Not in his favour for now, but surely about to be overturned in the next couple of shots or so. So the 99 points at the table. 17 points about to be scored there by Judd. And carefully positioned once again for the black, taking that one nicely into the right corner. So on the current break of 16 points there that he finds himself with. So taking the red into the left part of the table as well, having that massive bounce with the cue ball and getting himself to be lined up for the black, which will be the story of the frame now. 18 points each, 18 frames each. It's not something that you'll see at the Crucible. 18 frames each. 18 points each with 3 frames on the board as well. Now once again having that black to be played, and well, the first real misjudgment there, which will clearly leave Trump having to go for the blue right now. He's going to be alongside the reds, which means he's not going to be straight, which means there's not going to be a clear-cut chance for him to be playing this shot for the black. So needs to be using the blue here. Might pick a Zhao to win this tournament. We'll see. I haven't seen anything to say that's a good call or a bad call. I feel like the Wakeling is going to be a really nice test for him to try and settle into the tournament. Then if you're going to have either Higgins or Selby to be played in the semi-final, then it's going to be another great draw for you to be seeing as well. Trump there was thinking for a while about trying to get that cue ball to be heading into the reds. In the end, last second decision, decides not to be doing that. Carefully takes the white to be heading through the left corner of the table. Still positioning himself nicely for those reds. And look at that perfect cue action. Brilliant split of the pack. And now the ace in the pack is about to emerge. And potentially find himself with a royal flush there. Just having to bridge carefully over this black. And taking it towards the left corner. Ooh, that was not a nice kiss at all. I tell you what, this could be the difference between break being over. Wow, I mean, surely Trump had to do better there. It's exactly the same mistake that Murphy has made. I mean, does that red go into the left middle? It seems like he won't. And he has got absolutely no backup. He's got those 6 reds all to be alongside each other in a straight line with that cue ball to be joining in between. So if that red into the left middle doesn't go, nothing will go. And yeah, the fact that he's walking around clearly clueless on what's going to have to be happening now. I mean, he's still thinking about that red, but to be honest with you, you can only see 2 reds, so it's a 50-50 on which one of them he's going to be taking with a safety shot. Well, it looks like he's taking it into the middle. He's taking it. Now, he's missed it. Has he left it over the middle? No, he hasn't. So to be fair, it's a good shot there by Trump. He wasn't getting on the black anyway, so it's one of those things there where the damage was done on the previous occasion, but Murphy will know all about that. You know, it's exactly the way he's got himself to be stopped on the break of 18 points at the starting point of the frame number 7, and now finds himself 21 points behind there. It's a good shot. It's a good shot there by Trump because, to be fair, even though he got the front jaw, as long as he didn't catch the back end jaw and had that red to cannon back into the open play, he was always going to be a shot worth taking on. And the fact that he's run himself out of position on the black probably just confirming that, you know, had he taken that red into the middle point of the left middle pocket, then he should have been able to get himself the perfect positioning on the black as well. So for the meantime, Murphy's going to have a little bit of a thinking to try and do it before he plays his next safety shot, and now able to separate those reds away from each other pretty well, and giving the turn back to Watchalong. Looking to strike and see what he's going to be able to. Well, surely he's not going to go for another long shot. 20% so far he's going to have on those long shots there, and he's going to have to settle for another chance there. And he realizes that his form has been way below standard when it comes to long pot success, and just trying to carefully send one of those reds towards the right side rail, which is a smart shot there. Something that both Trump and Murphy have done before in this match. And by the way, it hasn't worked out for either one of them, because the frame where Trump has done that, Murphy still managed to win. And the frame that Murphy's managed to do it, it was frame number 5, I think it was. Trump was still able to find enough of those points for him to be the one leading before frame number 6 has started. But of course, you still have to do it from the numbers point of view, as now Trump finds himself 21 points clear. Obviously wouldn't need all of these reds, including the last one. Murphy will, because he's the one playing catch-up. And of course, he will need to try and get himself more than 27 points clear before he's going to be clear of a frame ball on the yellow. It's a bad shot that by Murphy. He didn't need to be cannoning the brown full in the face. And even if that red is not going to be cuttable into the left middle, then surely this is the time for you to break that bad sequence of long shots. And he's going to be all down to taking that cue ball towards the red and try and finish that one away into the left corner. I mean, he's got the perfect setup because the line is clearly there for the cue ball to be heading towards the safe spot anyway, with the ball colours waiting. Now, surely he's not going to be turning this one down. He felt like he could have cut this red into the middle, but to me, that was absolutely 100% the wrong shot to play. He's overcut that one, by the way. I mean, I don't know why he was going for that red anyway. It seems like he was way too thin for him to be approaching that shot. And of course, you know, when you play shots like that on, he's got no cover, because if he overcuts it, then maybe he's going to be able to do something about it, and a big bounce is going to help him. But if you, overcut it, you're never going to get any safety of it. And if you undercut it sometimes, you may be able to bounce it away. But anyway, that's no longer going to be the case. And Sean Murphy is about to have the run of his life in this 7th frame, having those 4 reds to be available. Once again, I bet he's happy, Trump, that he's put that red safe onto the right side cushion. But I mean, how safe is it? Because it's not going to be safer than the bank, and the bank can always be robbed there. And this red can always be cannoned into the open play from the green, from the pink, from the yellow, from the blue. Four colours are going to be right next to that red. And, well, I'll tell you what, you can try and go for it now if he feels like it. After taking the second black away with the 3rd red about to disappear into the right middle, he decided against that, so gone for the other choice of the red. So then he's going to find himself being 3 points clear as the black disappears at the back end of the right corner pocket. Just having a look at the position of the pink, yellow, green and brown, all to be away from their spots, but all to be in open play as well. Now, how are we looking in terms of points? 3 ahead there with Murphy, so he's going to get himself 19 points clear before getting through to that red. So you'll basically need the yellow as a 6 colour clearance, and that should be taking him more than 25 points clear, which is going to be the equivalent of those last 5 colours to be remaining, starting with the green. Now then, carefully taking that red into the right corner. Make sure he's going to be taking maximum number of points here, and about to finish off the sequence of 40 points there scored in those reds. Or is he going to be trying to head back for the blue? Seemed like that seemed It's going to be the approach that he's chosen. 11 points clear. It's not really going to matter, but it could give him a chance to try and bring that red into the open play. And it's exactly what he's done. Played that shot superbly well. And he's now going to be lined up perfectly well for a 4-3 lead. Because even though that red has gone slightly too close towards the black ball cushion, towards the ball cushion, I should say, it's now going to be down to which one of the two angles is he going to have on the pink and which one of the two angles is he going to have on the brown. Because one of them can be taken into the yellow pocket, aka brown, and one of them can be taken into the left middle, aka pink. You feel like he's going to have more of a chance by taking the brown there, because that will inevitably get him onto the left side of the table, which is going to be the correct side if you want to try and take that red away into the green pocket. Red ball frame, who gets hate? Well, it seems like it's going to be Murphy, because he was able to utilize that extra shot that he had of the previous red. He realized that he was going to have so many of those colors to try and choose from, and now he's about to put himself 17 points clear. And as I said, the yellow should be the one that takes him over the finish line. So 17 right now, so he needs to be taking the pink here, which I feel like is something that he wants to be doing anyway, because that will get him the points that he's looking for. So that he's going to be lined up 25 ahead with the yellow, and then try and do it with the green to be eliminating any sort of hopes there for Trump. And once again, having another sequence of 2 frames on the bounce there that he wins against the world number 1. So then another yellow about to be potted into the left middle. So 23 points as the difference here in favour of Shaun Murphy. Now then 25 with the yellow, 25 at the table at the same time, as soon as the yellow disappears. So just trying to take this green carefully, with the extension to be fair, which felt like it could have not really been avoided with the yellow being out of position, the green being out of position as well. So carefully take it. Make sure you're going to be 28 points clear with 2 snookers needed there for Judd Trump. And brilliantly taken there. Once again, another break of 50 plus there on the way of Shaun Murphy, as he's about to make Judd Trump pay for that mistake. Once again, there was no need to be making a positional mistake like he has done. Murphy was the one that started this frame with only 18 points scored, running himself out of position. Trump was able to extend that to 39 points from his camp, but still wasn't enough there. And something that clearly was enough was the technique and the form of Shaun Murphy to be taking this frame to go all the way. And now a break of 64 points. Big last frame coming up, yes, certainly, because now you've got the 4-all jaw being very much as an option. By the way, fantastic shot there from the pink onto the black and trying to double this one into the left corner. It's going to be close, and it is going to be the perfect ending there by the magician that ends this frame on the high, and the crowd certainly would have loved that. Trump wouldn't, as he stays once again without a smile in his seat, and he's going to have to try and keep that smile very much in the bag until he potentially wins the 8th frame. And I tell you what, after losing out the first 2 frames there, he still would have very much taken a 4-over scoreline. And so now, let's see what the story is going to be in the match of Neil Robertson against Barry Hawkins. By the way, thank you very much for everyone tuning in. Feel free to like on the stream and subscribe to the channel. By the way, Neil Robertson, 16 points clear there. He's about to be doing exactly the same thing there as technically the top seeded player of the tournament. He's about to take a 4-3 of a lead there over Barry Hawkins, but such a contrasting breaks. 3 50-plus breaks for Barry Hawkins, only 1 of them for Neil Robertson, 5 of those for Shaun Murphy, 2 of those for Judd Trump, and of course 1 of them to be a century breakers. It is incredible that Trump only had 1 of those 50-plus breaks, and incredibly it was a break of 140 to be 1 of them. So which one was the other one? We'll have to wait and see later on there, because the 8th frame is about to begin, and therefore the action is about to get started as Neil Robertson does get himself over the line, and both of those sessions are about to finish pretty much identically at the same time. 2 hours and 40 minutes since both of those respective matches gone underway. So just waiting for the referee to announce that it is going to be the last frame of the session, because you never quite know with the time, the schedule, the rules, the regulations probably all suggested that it should be 8 frames, but it doesn't stop some of those tournaments and some of those matches in China to be spreading those sessions out to 9 and 10 frames respectively. So then we are waiting for Barry Hawkins on table 2. We're not going to be waiting for Watchalong or Sean Murphy on table number 1 there. So just waiting for the announcement to be made. And it is going to be, as far as I'm aware, Sean Murphy's break off, because Trump was the one to do it first. So then, is he going to be a 5-3 lead for Sean Murphy, or is it going to be at last a level playing field that ends on exactly the same score sheet? 2 frames each it was, 3 frames each it was. Is he going to be now all the way to an all-score draw there, 4 frames apart there, and exactly the same ending to this particular match as it was in the fixture of Mark Cullen against Watchalong. Different circumstances, different opposition, different style of play as well, but same outcome there could still be very much on the horizon, as Robertson seems to be chewing all the ideas that he's going to have ahead of himself to try and get that win lined up. It is going to be the final frame of the session, so the confirmation there from the referee, always waiting for those, and the crowd, look at that brilliant acknowledgement before the frame starts. Let's see where this frame is going to go now. And look at that, once again, such an aggressive attempt there from Murphy. I mean, I'm not sure if he's been doing those in the practice table or what, but I'm not sure if I like that from his camp, because, you know, super close once again to be leaving out a red over the corner pocket there for Trump. In the end, the green is just about going to be hampering that cubble enough there, so that you can't see the cut-off point. And Trump is just going to be responding with a very thin shot. When I say very thin, I didn't mean that thin. And still works out pretty nicely. And if Murphy had the backup of the green to not be seeing that red for the right corner for Trump, this time around Trump is going to have the same thing, but with the brown. Murphy's smiling about it, clearly realising that, but you know, you won't be smiling for too long, because that cue ball is going to be tucked in nicely to the ball cushion in the end, close to the spine as well, and that leaves him with very much limited options in terms of what can he try and do here. The black, even though it's going to be out of position for probably the majority of the starting point of this frame, even if it's going to be potted along the black ball cushion, it's going to be a very difficult job for either one of the players to try and clear up the black ball spot surroundings. It's an aggressive shot down by Murphy. He's trying to take that one towards the green, but it feels like this time he's not going to be able to cover that cut-off point, and Trump will have that red into the right corner, very much visible to him. Surely, I mean, he's not even looking to that red, which is weird to me. Wow. Why is that the case? Has he realised that the black is going to be out of position? He's trying to go for another red, but that's not an excuse. He clearly can see something wrong being with that red, so decided not to go for it. Let's see what Murphy's decision is going to be, because Trump clearly felt like it was going to be worth it to be playing a safety shot, leaving out the same red away to Murphy, which to me counts as the one pretty much over the pocket. And I guess it's not even difficult for you to get on the black there. You just have to judge the pace pretty well. It's difficult for you to get on the black and pot it. I'll give you that one, but surely that's why we're on here in this sport, and you want to be taking a chance like that. Well, Murphy certainly took a chance or two. He's trying to absolutely hammer the second red with a plant, and I'm not going to say it worked out badly, because he still managed to get the cue ball beyond the bulk line, beyond the D line, and he's only left a potential cut into the right corner, which is not going to be easy there for Trump, but it's the one that gives that cue ball a little bit of freedom to be running up and down the table. Therefore, he should have loads of room for that cue ball to be lining up on the collar. He's missed that red though. He was very fortunate to be catching that blue, because that was going to keep that cue ball at the top end of the table, but of course he puts the blue to be out of the game, and it's not going to be something that Trump would need to be seeing, or either one of the players would need to be seeing there, because now they're going to have the black, which can be potted along the black ball cushion, but it's got nowhere to be respotted apart from, you know, a potential blue ball spot or any one of the ball cutters. But it doesn't fix the issue of either one of the players that gets themselves the first chance having to go all the way for the blue ball spot in the best case scenario, because right now that one's going to be vacant as well, and potentially even for the ball colours here. It's an interesting shot selection for Murphy, and I was going to say a bit of a bad one, but the cue ball has certainly managed to make it a really good shot there. Not just the fact that he's going to have the green in the way of those dangerous reds, but also how well he's managed to place that one in relation to the ball cushion. Still quite close towards the green side cushion as well. So now Trump is having a look at potential plans to be taken into the right corner, but the problem for him is that ideally you want to be taking that plant from the cue ball being closer to the yellow pocket. Now he needs to be taking that one with a thin cut, which leaves that cue ball to be vulnerable to danger from the left corner, catching the jaws. And well, he's gone for a plant. He's made that one in. Where's the cue ball going to be? I said it was always going to be a dangerous spot, but the cue ball, at least it stays at the table. Let's see if he's going to be choosing a colour here, though, because it's a really good find that from Chop, because those reds were really far away from each other. So he needed to find a really thin cut there, and just trying to do the simple thing that would work out the best for him. To be fair, he seems to have got close enough to the green so that he would create a little bit of problem there for Murphy. Because as long as managed to cover up the red next to the yellow spot, then that will force Murphy to be going down the table, and this is where nothing is safe really. You can try and play it into the left side of the bunch, but he's got way too what is it called? Like, basically hasn't got enough of those reds for you to be calling that a safe spot. And now Murphy's going to have to think about it. Well, he's got two options here now for me. If he can't get through to that red next to the yellow spot, then two cushion escape off the left side of the black ball cushion. He's done that before in the first frame. He's cost him 12 points, but oh, he can get through to this red by the yellow. Well, what was he thinking then? That clearly was the shot for you to go for. That wasn't really the power for you to be playing that shot with. Absolutely hidden hope, and 100% maximum power. Seems to have been a little bit fortunate with the way that red has managed to compromise a couple of the other ones by the right corner. But, I mean, if he was able to get past that yellow and carrying the cue ball off the left side into the red, it was always going to be a shot for him to go for. And just a little bit surprised with the hesitation. Maybe, just not really wanting to give that plant away to the right corner. Trump managed to exploit one of those before, and he seems like he's trying to exploit this one as well, but one of those reds caught the other one in the way. And still, the fact that he's managed to place that cue ball perfectly on the ball cushion probably takes any suggesting that he was playing that in attacking display away, because he clearly had no intention to be potting that red. And this is now going to be tricky for Murphy. His visibility is going to be restricted, but also the reds that he can see are probably going to have to be taken with a long red of an attempt, which is not going to be something that he needs here. Once again, still no real chance for him to be lined up for the colour. The black has got even more of a company now around himself, both towards his spot and his current position here. The blue is still nowhere to be seen. The pink probably only goes into the left middle right now. And Murphy finds himself thinking loads of time here, which can never be a good sign for him. He's got great snooker IQ, so whenever he's having to overthink a shot like that, probably suggests that he's going to have to leave something there to Chomp, and he's just probably trying to choose the lesser of an evil. And to be fair, it seems like he's found a really good line there to be giving the turn back to Trump, and having a couple of those reds to think about here from Judd's point of view. Seems like he's going to take the cue ball to go all the way towards those reds and just basically try and free up the pink, and that's exactly what he's done. Make sure he doesn't compromise himself on the cue ball aspect at all. Could have been slightly closer to the ball cushion, but shouldn't be a huge matter in the making anyway. So then Murphy, looking for that left-hand side of the table this time, and just needs to be getting past the pink here. He seems to have done that. Where's the cue ball going to be heading? Doesn't want it to catch the green full in the face. That's exactly what's happened. Now, is it going to be the time? I've said that before, and not for the first time, to finally try and break that deadlock of a long attempt from Judd Chomp. Is he going to go for the left corner? No, he won't. He's not even thinking about those long shots. It just seems like his mind is going to be switched on to a safety mode. And not quite in a Mark Selby mode, but still very much trying to give himself the best possible chance of having that position sorted out. But the fact that we've got the pink to be in the open play and the pink spot to be playable to an extent does give me a little bit of hope that this frame is not going to go over an hour mark. We seem to be on a really good line for that to be the case, though, with safeties like that. Once again, a good overcome of a green there from Murphy, getting around the second cheapest of those colours. And now getting himself to be lined up for surely a trip back to the table very shortly. Trump doesn't seem like he's going to be happy with the way that he's played this shot. Was up very quickly from that shot, but now once again just licking that jaw of the green pocket, but still keeping that cue ball at the table. Making sure that Murphy's going to be the one that has to deliver those shots. He's managed to do that before. Can he try and do it for one more time here? And nobody said it will be the last time that he needs to do that. But someone did say that it's going to be a potential chance for him to try and take this match all the way. So then, what's it going to be here for Murphy? I mean, he's having a long look towards the right-hand side of those reds. And the answer that he seems to come up with is going to be just have to try and take a step backwards. I mean, I'm not sure how he was thinking about taking a step forward here, but probably the right-hand side of the red closer to the right corner and played exactly the same style of a shot that he's played beforehand. Try and drop the cube onto the black ball cushion. Make sure he's not going to have the same red that he plays to go over the left middle. And yeah, Murphy there just giving a little bit of feedback to the fans as if to say, I've got absolutely no clue on which shot I'm going to have to play. And he doesn't really have the luxury of, you know, if I give away a chance, he's not going to have anything. He's got the pink now. He can try and respot the blue as well. More than 2 minutes there on this shot here for taking. How's the match going, please? It should be 4-3 in favour of Robertson. I'll have a look at how it's going in frame number 8. And it is going to be 5-3. Robertson just won the 8 frames. So let's have a look how he's managed to do that. With a break of 78 points. His second break of 50 plus in the entire match there. And the first session of that particular match is going to be over. And Barry Hawkins, after winning his match against Watchalong and winning the first session by 5 frames to 3, is about to find himself on the receiving end of exactly the same scoreline. Murphy was able to find himself out of trouble on the previous occasion, and Trump has already tried and put him into a little bit of trouble again. Doesn't seem like it's worked out though. And that will leave the cue ball to be travelling back down the table very shortly here. So what's it going to be here for Sean? Can he try? Well, he can't do anything with the attacking reds, as far as I can see. And, well, it's difficult to be fair. Because the only shot that I'm seeing right now, and it's a really risky one, but taking the red closest to the cue ball and trying to find that white to be heading straight off into the gap of those 2 reds and try and make sure he misses all of them. That was fading, he feels, and he's not going to be happy with the way that that cue ball is finished, lined up for that red. So he was trying to roll that cue ball towards the red that was on the right side cushion. Let's see what's it going to be here. Thank you, good lead. Yes, it is now going to be a good lead for Neil Robertson. Let's see if he's going to be able to convert that one and be the one that either one of those 2 players will have to face, or is it going to be another mini comeback for Barry Hawkins completed? Now then, this red has to go in for Trump. He needs those ones to be heading in, and they won't. The black nearly dropped in. Ooh, the pink is out of position. The black is now over the left corner. And, well, does Sean Murphy have anything easy? Yes, he does have a couple of options into the right corner to be taken, but Trump just doesn't seem like he's firing on 6 cylinders. It doesn't seem like he's got 4 of those to be functioning properly. And yeah, Murphy is going to have to try and take this and convert it into a bit of a positive energy for himself. It's still going to be a bit of a quest room, but now at least he's going to have the shots to try and play around the black there. And plays his shot well enough. That cue ball is going to be having loads of freedom here. And now it's going to be down to whether he wants to try and leave that black in the corner pocket, which probably is going to be a bit of a negative mindset anyway. Who will win 8 frame? God knows, but now is going to be a great chance for Murphy because he's got the first chance here. So just having this look at the reds potentially about to be taken into the left part of the table. So then what's it going to be here for Sean? He's having those two reds highlighted there on the Channel 5 broadcast as a potential escape route. And he seems to have played this one just about well enough. Or has he? He needs to make sure he doesn't have two reds to be in the way of each other. That seems to be the exact story. And that means he needs to be playing three red shots on the bounce. Something like Sean probably wouldn't want to be doing too many things, too many times there. Now, 3 hours since the match has started. Come on, what's it going to be then for either one of those two players to try and take either a comfortable lead of 5 frames to 3 into the second session or make it a 4-all draw? And, well, Murphy took a chance. He didn't have to take a chance there, though. And this is going to blow this frame wide open for Trump. And Judd was always going to have a chance. Let's see how many points he's going to be able to take with it. I think Trump, well, I'll tell you what, that was a hell of a prediction because you could not have done it before that miss. You must have done it before that miss of Sean Murphy. So that was a really good call. Whether it was a guesswork or not. But the position was difficult, but it certainly wasn't as difficult as it was for you to be scoring 8 points out of it. But now, with 12 reds at the table, the first one is about to be taken. Trump has got a real chance on his hands to try and get it to a second match to be finishing with 4 frames each. About to be taking the black, which should now be available to be heading into both left and right corner of the table. The luxury that Murphy wasn't even close to be having. And with his previous horrible miss of the reds, that has sent all of those reds flying across the table. And that's exactly why you're going to have Jock Trump to be leading by 10 frames to 8. 10 frames to 8. Well, maybe a bit of a spoiler alert. 10 points to 8. You know, I would remember that prediction now. 10 frames to 8, I said, without even meaning that one. In terms of the reds that he's got available here, 3 certainly. Should have 6, though, if you take it a stretch, because the 2 reds right next to the pink spot are the ones that I'm not sure if the lower one will go to the right corner. He certainly will go into the left middle, which should be good enough, especially for Trump to be playing that shot from the black. But it's something that he should be doing here right now, as he gets himself lined up for the black for the 3rd time here. Of course, the number one thing that he needs to be doing is taking all the easy reds, something that he's managed to do so far, and try and take his lead to be something like 40 or 50 points, whilst having 75 at the table, something like that. And then you are going to be talking about trying to get the more difficult reds to be in the open play. But another great shot there. A little bit awkward for you to be bridging over the black. And now 18 points as the advantage over Sean Murphy. Can he try and hold that cue ball with massive slice of backspin? No, he can't is the answer. Trying to separate those 2 reds away from each other. The fact that he hasn't done that yet may be a sign of 2 things. Either he's going to be deadly focused on taking all the easy reds first, or it could be a sign of them being played into the right corner anyway, without needing to have those 2 to be split away from each other. Played a bit of a bad shot there. Way too acute there from an angle on the black than he would have needed it to be. So, I mean, to be fair, it gives him a perfect line to be trying to separate those 2 reds away, with probably having a great chance of having both of them to be available. Oh, that one has gone wrong. I mean, it doesn't seem like he gives away anything with his body language there, chum, but surely he has gone wrong, because the only red that I can see him play is exactly the copy that the red that was missed by Murphy previously. I feel like it was the 2nd frame, maybe in the 3rd one, to be fair. Yeah, this is even more difficult than the one that Sean Murphy's had. But look at that, brilliantly taken. Lost control of the cue ball, though. And, yeah, if he's going to, well, it doesn't matter if he's going to be straight here. He's lost control of the cue ball to an extent. He can't add anything other than topspin here on the cue ball. Trump will do it, amigo. Well, maybe. But he won't do it off the black. He won't do it off the black. And now, just have a look what he's got available ahead of Sean Murphy. As I said, he was always going to be struggling to find a positional play. I thought he might be able to, well, I thought he was going to be able to get the black in, but now he's got 34 points of elite off table. Certainly is now. What Murphy can try and do with it. 4 reds on the black ball cushion. 2 to be right next to each other, next to the pink spot. And 1 more to be lines up on the right side cushion. Doesn't get better with the colours. Pink, horrible position on the left side cushion. Blue to be joining it in the neighbourhood. And black to be lined up at the right middle's expense. Yeah, Murphy surely can't go for either one of those reds, because even if he was to try and get those reds in, he'll be just a point on the board without any chance for him to try and continue that break and take it into anything meaningful. So then having to play this shot full in the face and having to play that with loads of power, it hasn't worked out, but because he was playing for the black, he was always going to get a bit of a leeway of only having the risk of leaving the same red away. He hasn't left it, and he's gone sort of backwards towards the place where Murphy was playing that red from. Trump is going to try and use it as a shot from a safety there, and trying to get the cue ball to be lined up closer to the yellow and brown. Not quite in behind the two of them, but still, it's probably going to make this shot very tricky for Murphy to play, of the two of those reds, having the yellow to be in the way. And if he wants to try and do it off the right hand side of the table, then it shouldn't be too much of an issue in relation to the cue ball and related to those reds as well. So then that cue ball got a massive bounce of the black ball cushion, which suggests there was a little bit of spin to be added on it. So it's just a matter of time until Trump is going to go for the short selection, trying to go for those long reds, trying to make sure he utilizes that 34 points of an advantage that he has. For now, he's looking to try and find that green, and he was close. He was really close there, but he wasn't quite meant to be. And it's just going to drift on the left-hand side of it. So Murphy, well, he's got so much work here to do, because even if you talk about those reds, he's got about 4 of them to be compromised there. And he's about to take the one, which is in the open play, and play it into the one closer to the right corner. Needs that cue ball to be pulling up in behind the green, and just doesn't want it to have any extra power. Perfect shot there from Sean. He has left the availability of taking those reds at the left part of the table, but at least Trump is not going to be seeing those ones in the way that he would have liked to. And also, he's going to be the one that is forced to be taking 2 potential problems there for Murphy and spraying them out to 2 of those reds to be in the open play. A bit of a favourable kiss of the brown, and getting that cue ball to be heading in behind the green here. So now, once again, similar approach of Murphy here, because he doesn't have great availability on those reds either. But he's got the one that can be taken into the corner with playing the cue ball into a somewhat safe place. And he's put one of those reds to be over the corner pocket. Now, does he have the cover from the black? He seems to have done that. So the red that I mentioned, Murphy could have taken into the left corner, probably is the one that Trump needs to be taking on, unless he can try and find a way where the cue ball is going to be heading to the safe spot with a guarantee there for him. And an insurance letter to go with it, because, you know, the thing about Murphy, he's managed to do really, he's managed to take this position really well in terms of, out of 5 reds that he had bunched up together and out of position, he's now going to be down to just 2 of those. And, well, the cue ball is going to find the back of the green pocket there. So Trump has managed to compromise a couple of those reds, but ultimately, the most important thing here is Sean Murphy is probably about to go on a little bit of a break run of his own. So, yeah, he's got a couple of those reds to choose from. Closer to the right corner. 28 points of a difference, 83 at the table. It's not going to be enough there to sort of try and rely on for very much the end point of this frame. But that will keep Trump comfortable and warm for now. So then Murphy needs to be taking this red into the corner. He needs to be taken with power, which meant the shot was going to be a little bit more difficult. And, well, he got unlucky with the kiss on the red, but this surely now is going to be frame over in favour of Trump. And he has got the run of those reds to be positioned perfectly. Yeah, very weird mistake from Murphy. Probably one of the few players on the tour that you wouldn't expect a mistake like that to come in. And Trump, I mean, using the entirety of that right side cushion, left side cushion there, making sure that cue ball wasn't going to touch the jaw, or especially the back end of the left middle after potting the reds. And now He's about to be doubling his chances of winning the frame with every single shot that he takes. The black is about, with every single red, I should say, that he takes. Ooh, needed to be careful. That he nearly give a thumbs up there to the red, colliding with the other one, making sure that he was not going to be in the way of the cue ball. And that could have been the difference between him taking 16 more points as a guarantee and not having any more shots to be taken at all. Now, his task should be getting the number of points available down to 51, which is going to be the exact number of points that he has got right now, which means taking 2 more reds out of play, preferably taking those 2 with expensive colours. Top table, I said it. Well, for now, it seems like he is going to do it, because 46 now is the advantage for Chump. About to get himself lined up with... so what does it look like? Yeah, so 67 points at the table right now. So 46 as the advantage. And, ooh, bad shot there from Chump. I'm not sure if that was the best that he could manage. But it looks like he's going to have to try and do it in another go there. Unable to get past and get around the black there. So 47 points as the advantage. 54 with the black if he takes it into the right middle. But he's going to have little to no chance at all to be playing for either one of those 4 remaining reds. So just trying to make sure he takes the black in, which he seems to have done. And he has done so. So now 54 points of a lead. 59 on the table. And he says that it was a great black for him to be taking. Very little of the pocket to be aiming towards. And brilliantly taken. About as close to the front jaw as he can get without touching it. So just play the only red to be in the open play. Try and basically make it a 1 red battle. Be the player that takes that red away. And even if he doesn't, you leave Shaun Murphy having to take every single one of those reds with the black, with the pink being out of play, and the blue not being enough in terms of the points they will bring to you. So Murphy's still having a bit of a thinking process. It does remind you of a start of the second frame there, surely, because... you know, Murphy was on a really good run. He missed that black off the spot. He gave away a chance to Chump, but Judd was only able to score 8 points out of it, which still having enough points on the board, it was always going to be a tough challenge. And in the end, it proved to be too tough of a challenge for him to manage. And Murphy clearly feels like it is do or die here for him. And for now, it is going to be die. The red is missed, although not given away even into the yellow or the green pockets, because both of them to be covered up by the blue and the green. Close game, be correct second session, yes, because the people in the chat have spoken, and who am I to argue with them? And, it's a bit of a bad shot there from Chump. He was nowhere near to be taking that red into the middle, but ultimately, he seems to have got the snooker on the same red there in relation to the cue ball, getting that cue ball to be squeezed in the... getting the yellow to be squeezed in between the cue ball and the red. So Murphy doesn't have a great variety of options here. Oh, he can just about get through to the red, but the wrong side of it anyway, so he can't pot it into the middle. And it's not like you can play an easy safety shot of that one either, so it's going to have to go with another short approach. So what is it going to be then? It seems like it's going to have to be the red to be taken into the left part of the table. And, well, trying to swerve around it. Maybe trying to pot it at the same time. That's what he has done. And, that's what he has tried. And you can see that, not even watching where the cue ball's going to finish in you, that he wasn't going to give this chance away. And this should be frame over to Jot Trump. Hit the like button, folks. Helps. Yes, thank you very much there. Appreciate Kevin, all the support in the chat. And for everyone that has been watching the stream, this has been a great battle. And Jot Trump now has surely found himself to be getting over the line. I'm surprised that there hasn't been any applause there from the crowd. But I suppose they've used all their arsenal when that brilliant brilliant black was made into the right middle. And in the end, it is going to be 57 points of a difference. GG's, it should be now in the first session. So then 57 ahead, 51 remaining. Still 2 snookers needed there for Murphy, but it's going to be one of those frames that could drag on for a while. But let's see what Trump is going to be able to do here. Of course, he's not going to be able to pot those reds, so he's just trying to put that cue ball into a safe place. And, well, technically, I said he wasn't going to pot them. Wow, that was a red He's taking a plant of reds which were nowhere near next to each other along the black percussion throughout all the way. That was certainly a brilliant wow. I mean, that is, if that is not a shot of the tournament, I don't know what is. That was absolutely brilliant there from Chum, taking the brown to go with it. Wow, that was beautiful. Talk about accuracy. It may not be the best thing to say about the pockets, but still, the fact that in the pull pockets, that would have been a really good shot for him to be taken. But in snooker terms, that was an absolute gem of a find there. It didn't really mean anything because he was 2 snookers safe anyway. But now you can see total points above of 451. It is going to be game on certainly for the second session, and it is certainly going to be a new start for tonight. The question is, for who is it going to be the start, and for which one of those players is it going to be the finish? Trump making this table look so easy there. I mean, he's had so difficult 4 of those reds to be taken. He's managed to take them out one by one. You know, one of those being more difficult than the other. He's still trying to make even more improvement there, getting the pink to be sorted out by the yellow pocket. Someone told him in his ear that he's going to be behind Sean Murphy in one of those stats. And he is going to be behind Sean Murphy in one of those stats, no matter what happens in the remainder of this frame in terms of total point scores. But he can try and bring that points down to the minimum. Yeah, by the way, thank you for everyone who has tuned in to be watching this match with us. And feel free to be tuning in for the second session as well. That one will have loads more action. And one thing the first session was never going to have is going to have the result. And it's going to be very exciting to be seeing there on which one of those 2 players will take it all the way. And for now, it is going to be the break in between those 2 great players and nothing to separate them, especially with the last 7 frames or so. It is now been Sean Murphy 4, Judd Trump 4. And I guess I'll see you later for the evening session. Best of 19 frames. We've seen 18 frames on 3 of those occasions in the first round already, with Barry Hawkins and Judd Trump and John Higgins being the ones that have managed to come through those matches. But is it going to be another potential match for Chris Wakeland's exploitment of 8 frames to be won on the bounce against Weezer? We'll have to wait and see on which one of them will be able to come out all the way to the top and make it to the semi-final appearance. For now, thank you very much for all the action, for all the engagement that you have been giving me in the chat. Special shout out to the moderators, and I'll see you all soon. Very much looking forward to be seeing that second session, which will bring out the winner and will hopefully bring out the best of either one of those 2 players. Looking forward to that one. Stay tuned in, and happy for Trump and Murphy to be giving out quite a battle.